left these players at home. The right-back position, it's almost criminal that we're having to play Spence there. Spence doesn't start at right-back for Tottenham, who finished 17th. And I'm looking at it going, what's going on? What am I watching? Maduaki doesn't get to the byline, pulls it back to Spence. Spence doesn't want to cross the ball. It's not his game. It's not his game. He's athletic. He'll defend well. It's not his game. I'm sitting here and I'm like, all of a sudden, the best part of the game where we looked all right was when Declan Rice went right back and Saka played right wing because they had a connection. And if Saka tried to get to the byline, it didn't happen. Come back to Rice and Rice puts the ball in the box. And it's like, how have we not took Trent? How? It's going to go down as one of the worst World Cup squad picks ever. Ever. That Trent hasn't gone. Cole Palmer must be sat in O Beach in Ibiza.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Should Thomas Tuchel keep Declan Rice at right back for Mexico? He did seem to solve a problem last night, but Alan Pardew says that would create other issues.
There's a couple of positions. I think Anderson struggled a little bit in the last couple of games. I think there's a possibility to make us a little bit more kind of have a little bit more flair in the team, maybe to put Rice in the six, bring back Bellingham one and play Eze, for example, or Rodgers.
Is one of those other problem positions, the goalkeeper. Jordan Pickford again in the spotlight after conceding that opener last night. David Seaman told H&J he's not too concerned.
Everything seems okay. There's a little bit of weight going to his left when the ball is struck at him, but he gets there quick enough. It's just his hand is a little bit, I call it soft.
Kick-off time yesterday meant so many England fans were commuting that there was the biggest ever spike in mobile traffic in the history of both EE and O2's existence. Surely that won't be beaten by Mexico-England in the last 16, which is on Monday at 1 a.m. It's here on talkSPORT, so avoid your phone. Just take the wireless to bed with you. Lovely. A couple of big midfield Premier League transfers completed today. Mateus Fernandes saying the De Zerbi effect attracted him to Spurs. Hayden Hackney says David Moyes' record of transitioning Championship players to become Premier League ones was behind his switch from Borough to Everton. And allegations made in an article in the golf publication Scratch that Phil Mickelson has been kicked out of 3 clubs for inappropriate interactions with women are being described by his representatives as an anonymously sourced drive-by shooting. The statement from the 6-time major winner says he's never been expelled from a golf club, adding Scratch's affiliation with the PGA Tour, which Mickelson left 4 years ago, means it cannot report independently. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT. News.
The Prime Minister has described historical forced adoption as a stain on our history and a government promise to right the wrongs identified by an inquiry into the killing of 3 young girls in Southport. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heat wave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Dry for most, though some squally showers in the northwest, the west of Scotland and in Northern Ireland, staying that way into tonight too.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is how to win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Good afternoon, UK, and good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Brad Friedel. We are live on talkSPORT. So Belgium, USA and England progress into the last 16. But is it becoming clearer? This England team is miles off from winning this World Cup. Meanwhile, all change at Nottingham Forest again. Glasner and Marinakis, a match made in heaven. or a match made in hell? Also today, how damaging is that Balogun red to the USA? Does Wimbledon need Becker? Can Portugal galvanise through tragedy? And £100 million agreed for Tonali. How many more statements will Spurs make this summer? It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Brad Friedel, and we are all live on talkSPORT. Hi everybody, welcome along from New York. A lot of activity out on the Hudson already this morning, just the back of 8 o'clock in the morning. But of course, with Independence Day, the 4th of July, in this part of the world, just around the corner, there are a lot of celebrations being prepared, and the military are in town. And so are we, so is Simon, and so is 82 times capped goalkeeper for the US of A, Brad Friedel, who's back from his travels. Brad, good morning. Where have you been?
Good morning. Where have I been? I've been in Toronto, I've been in LA, I've been in Dallas, I've been in Boston, been in New York, and been in Ohio. Now I'm back in New York.
Lovely. We've been here waiting for you.
Yes, I'm sure. That's all you've done. All day long. When's Brad coming back?
And Mr. Jordan, you are the recipient of a very nice piece of merchandise from Brad. A signed USA jersey, I see, which is going to go to a good home, is it?
Yes, my very close friends up in Rhode Island, the two sons are massive football fans.
Good.
And so I phoned Brad when I was down there saying, Brad, do us a favour, mate, any chance you can get a signed USA shirt? And the Star got it for me.
Well done, Brad.
Very grateful.
Well done. What we do know is it's going to get very, very hot in this part of the world today. You were saying yesterday it was hot enough.
Oh, it's obscene out there.
Today is crazy.
115 degrees is going to be out there. 7:30 in the morning, you're walking in 92, 93 degree heat. I mean, I know they've had it back in the UK, they've had it very hot, but I think this is I live in Spain, so I know what hot looks like. This is hot.
I go to Kansas City tonight, and it's going to be worse there.
Is it?
Yeah. These are the temperatures that we were talking about, and the elements.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about that and the implications of it regarding the match on Sunday for England in Mexico City, and that much talked about altitude as well, Brad, because you've played in those conditions. But Belgium, USA and England all into the last 16 of the World Cup. The USA last night, if you stayed up at home, you would see they beat Bosnia 2-0, winning their first World Cup knockout game since 2002. They have now broken a 13-game winless run against European opposition. I mean, have you got your chest puffed out a bit this morning, Brad? You're proud of these lads?
Proud. I'm really happy that we're through. I didn't think last night's game was particularly good, and I think when you see what Bosnia did defensively against Christian Pulisic, there's a way to negate our attacking ability, but I thought we were the better team. I think the goal was very fortunate when it came. I disagree with the sending off from Balogun, and it's a shame that there's no way to rescind the red card or appeal against it. Very happy that they're through. Belgium can beat us, we can beat them. So we could find ourselves in the quarterfinals.
Right. And of course, for England, Simon, they got past DR Congo. You should have seen this fella. You were sweating somewhat, were you not? 2-1. They set up a last 16 clash in Mexico against the Mexicans in Mexico City, the Azteca, high altitude and all of that. We'll get to that. 1 a.m., remember, kickoff in the early hours of Monday morning live on talkSPORT. So Simon and Brad, this is for both of you. When you look at it and where both of those nations are, the USA and England, who goes further in this tournament, the USA or England?
Oh, that's a very loaded question and difficult to ask. Answer.
That's why I asked it.
Not difficult to ask. I mean, look at Belgium in terms of if the USA beats Belgium, that will be probably one of the major names on their resume and really start to establish in people's minds that they're becoming quite a forceful football nation, rather than just the sort of ridicule of it being a secondary sport in the States. Pochettino's very heavily invested. You saw him run over to the fans and whatever he was doing yesterday, and he's playing into the gallery and getting everybody at it. And the Americans are great at getting involved. When something's winning, the Americans will come on top. They are flat-track bullies at times. But the fact is that England have a better team.
It's a bit harsh.
Well, you are.
I know I'm dual citizen, but come on.
You're a flat-track bully.
Flat-track bullies, yeah. But, listen, it's difficult because I watched England yesterday, and on the list of many abject England performances over the years, that's right up there.
Well, what happened to, it's a given?
Well, it should have been, shouldn't it? But it wasn't. And it's nothing to do with how well Congo played. It's how appalling England were, how they started the game, how they allow these teams. They were outfoxed for the first 10 minutes because they obviously expected the Congo to bank up and sit in, and they didn't. But the level of play and some of the players that are on that field, you have to question what England are doing. You have to question, because there's nothing about these performances, and I'm an eternal optimist, and I will continue to try to be so, but it is now an effort to be so, because you can look at it, you can be jingoistic, you can be patriotic, you can support the unsupportable if you want to. That was a very poor performance.
What was it? Was it a bit of overconfidence going into it? Even borderline arrogance?
Well, look, if you go through the list of players, Spence isn't good enough. You look at Saka, and although he came on, you look at Declan Rice, they look knackered from a season at Arsenal, and I don't know why that is. You look at Madueke, he's clueless. He's a speedboat without a brain. You look at some of the players on the field, they're not good enough at this moment in time. Now, there's no cohesiveness team. This is not a team. This is not a fluid team. The one thing they can all take away from, and I suspect they can probably make this point, is they don't give up. They continue. They continue to be abject for most of the game.
Well, that's kind of them, isn't it?
No, but that was
the World Cup final.
No, but that was the point they were making. Some people can be defeated. They keep on, and Anthony Gordon was making the point Harry Kane was making. I mean, Harry Kane, with due respect, if his only job is to score goals, fantastic. And that's right, that's what he does, and you have to give him all the credit for that.
Yeah.
He wasn't great either.
OK.
The team is poor at the moment.
We're going to get into it in more detail shortly. What about you, USA? Do you think they get by Belgium, whereas England might struggle with the altitude in Mexico?
I'll get on England and Mexico.
We'll do that in a bit.
Yeah, US-Belgium is an interesting one. I think if they play, and I think we spoke about this, if they play Doku and Luka Bacchio, we struggle. If any team that plays against us, if they negate our pace on the outside, so if you take Freeman's pace out and Dest's pace out, and you take Pulisic and Robinson's pace out, we have to play the possession football through the middle. That's not our thing. What could play into our hands, the Belgians think they're players, and they are. Some of them are good players, and they're going to try to pass out of the back. That plays to our advantage because we'll high press. And if we win the ball in the center areas of the pitch, in the middle third, then we're gonna counterattack and get some chances. I'm not confident that we win, but I'm also not doom and gloom that we're going to lose. It's just one of those games that could go either way. So I can't tell you if I think we're going to be in the quarterfinals or not. I can only tell you I hope we're going to be in the quarterfinals. Mexico, England. Mexico is a poor side. They're not a great side. I've played against them my whole life growing up. I've been down there. They have a huge advantage playing in the altitude, and it is an enormous advantage. What they do is they try to suffocate teams in the first 15 to 20 minutes of every game. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They could be playing the old Brazil teams. That's what they try to do. If you can stay...
What does suffocate mean?
So you can't breathe anymore. You can't get your second win. You start a game, and if somebody's like really on top of you, you get your second win, you get into the game. When you're at altitude, it's really hard to get your second win back. And if you go down a goal, then you're a little bit anxious. You're a little bit...
you mean they press England very hard, very early, and make them work very
Everybody. Hard? Yeah. And then England has to work that extra bit harder, and then you go down a goal, and you think you have to work that extra bit harder again, and then the altitude takes over. If you get through the 15, 20 minutes... lucky enough to score a goal and go up 1-0 or just 0-0, you will see that Mexico is a very average side.
Okay, it's going to be raining there, I think.
That'll be great for England because that'll take the smog out of the equation.
The fact of the matter was, though, the Americans were reduced to 10 men. Brad Balogun sent off. Sent off just before the hour mark following VAR intervention. He landed awkwardly on one of the Bosnian defenders on the fella's ankle after being off balance, if you like. Now, there have been comparisons over here made with Messi's challenge on Mande of Algeria in the group phase match. But unlike Messi, well, what do you know? Balogun was sent off and he misses the Belgian game. What do you think? Under FIFA regulations, Brad, there's no appeal. There's no appeal. Well, should that change?
Well, first of all, the images that we're seeing, if you just stopped it where it's on his ankle, you would say that's a red card. If you look at the actual play and how it developed, he was in the air and he just was coming down. He wasn't looking down. He wasn't aggressively going at the player. And it was just unlucky. The player wasn't injured either. He carried on in playing. And I think those instances just happened. As far as the appeals process, that's a longer discussion. You have to go in with FIFA why you can't appeal one decision. Yeah. My belief is that if FIFA gave extra games 2 or 3 or on top of that, then you could appeal it. But on a one match direct red card, you can't appeal it. So that's going to be a big miss for us against Belgium.
Is it? I mean, what Jim is trying to suggest. I mean, we have to factor in the fact that subjectivity exists in all referees' mind. It wasn't the same referee that refereed Messi that refereed Bellingham, so the comparison is probably not the greatest one. But it goes to the cause of. Do you believe that the Messi effect would allow a referee to make a different decision as a player? Do certain players on the field, because of their reputation, because of their profile, because of their validity in the eyes of so many people, would Messi get a different reaction from a referee?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's just like when you used to play at Old Trafford against Sir Alex Ferguson. There were a lot of referees that did not want to make a call at the end of the game because of what would happen in the media, the wrath afterwards. Yeah. That's just the referees are human beings as well, and they have their own. They have their own emotions.
Yeah. Well, the fact is that Balogun sits out the Belgian game and the USA will have to do without him. We have a lot to get through this morning. We're diving all over the place here as this World Cup really gets serious now. It's serious from the word go, but it certainly is now as we're in the knockout phase. Up next, we're going to delve deeper into England. It's becoming clearer this is a team miles off winning this World Cup. Or is it? Is it? Have you got a feeling that, after yesterday and what happened right at the end and the Kane magic, you might just go all the way? We'll talk about that very shortly. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Brad Friedel in a very, very warm New York City. And we're live in talkSPORT.
We've already established you're a deluded Arsenal fan. What do you make of Morgan Rogers and £130 million?
You know what? I saw O'Hara going absolutely mad on was it? He was somewhere. He was talking. Yeah, and he was talking about the prices, etc. And I do actually think he's right, man. I think the prices have gone absolutely crazy. But it's one of those where, as crazy as it is, number one, it's not my money, and number two, football makes so much money. They're only going to spend where they think they can get the money back. So as much as it's crazy for us and we go, oh my gosh, these crazy prices, they're making money selling people's shirts on the back end anyway, and all these expensive tickets and everything that's going on. So someone can afford it.
Do you need him though, Joel? Because I agree with Bentley when I've listened to Bentley say that you've got Eze, you've got Odegaard, you've got Ranieri, Diamond coming back, but don't you need a proper left winger? I know Martinelli can do good things, Trossard, okay, but wouldn't that money be well spent elsewhere?
I think he's so good that if he's available, you take him. I really do. I think in the Premier League,
30 million.
It's not my money. If they can afford it,
but that will
why
take,
do we care?
Because I'm guessing you've only got a certain amount of money to spend in this window, and 130 million will be a huge chunk of it. Wouldn't you rather spend that chunk of it on a left-sided midfielder?
It depends on who's available, though, Andy. Like nowadays, who's available? If I was to ask you, who do we get? If it's not him, who?
Nico Williams.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Barcola.
He's signed a contract though. With,
he don't want to leave, does he?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's look, Kvaratskhelia, however you say his name, he would have been brilliant like a couple of years ago, but we missed the boat on that. I don't want Rafael Leao. The option of Rashford, I've been hearing, but
what does it say about the Eze transfer though, Joel? If you're going for Morgan Rogers now, after Eze signed last summer, what does it say about that transfer?
Yeah, but Eze is more central, though. Morgan Rogers, I'm not saying he doesn't play central, but I'm assuming...
Central. He plays his best stuff in the centre, mate, not on the left.
I know, but if you've got all those players, you're going to have to squeeze them in somehow.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
The
used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Hi everybody, it's a warm one here in New York City. It's going to go up to 37 degrees today ahead of the 4th of July celebrations, and it's getting busy out there. The military coming into town, coming into New York City. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, is coming here as well. We're ready for him if he comes our way. Let's see. A lot of great football on the way right across the talkSPORT network throughout the day. Today, at these World Cup finals, you will not miss a trick. So right across the network, Spain against Austria, that kicks it all off. Portugal against Croatia. How might that go? Difficult one to call. And the third of three later on, Switzerland against Algeria. Those three matches live right across the talkSPORT network. Brad Friedel in studio with myself and Simon. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation. First stop for us today, let's look at what happened yesterday. England went in against DR Congo and they got a fright, it's fair to say. They got a big fright. And at one stage, they were looking at JFK and heading home because DR Congo had the lead and kept the lead for a long, long time. Enter Harry Kane, and they win it with two great goals. And all credit to Harry Kane. And he is making headline news in this part of the world. You won't be surprised to hear this morning. But what about Thomas Tuchel? How did he reflect on it post-match? This is how.
I think they feel an energy that is not built on fear, and the energy of the players is there. They show their teeth, and they have what it takes to overcome difficult moments. I think that even through the telly, that you can feel it on the sideline in the stadium. You clearly feel it. It's just what it is at the moment. I think like we can be proud on this team. They pushed again. They pushed with the substitutes and the players who didn't play, and they deserved this moment in the end. And yeah, we keep on going.
So, I mean, Brad, you heard Tuchel there, and Simon's obviously going to give his thumbs worth on this. But he's proud. He's sounding positive. They nearly went out.
Okay. I don't have any emotion on the England team, whether they win or lose. So I'll just say how I saw the game. Thought they were hit with a mistake. I don't know what Konsa was doing. Spence had to try to cover, couldn't, and a goalkeeping mistake in the 5th or 6th minute. I don't think they were expecting it. I don't think they thought Congo was going to come out and play. That's their fault. That's a mistake. They should be prepared for anything. I thought watching the game from about, maybe even after the hydration break, 25th, 30th minute, England created quite a few chances. Goalkeeper made some very good saves. And I didn't see as negative a performance as a lot of English supporters would because of how poorly they played in the first part of the game. That's how I saw it as a neutral. Yes, they need Harry Kane, but all the teams need their stars to score. That's why they're the stars. So Argentina need Messi, and Portugal have needed Ronaldo over the years, and et cetera, et cetera. We can go down the list of greats. I'm worried on this England team. You know that I picked them to win the World Cup. What I am worried about is they don't look cohesive defensively at large moments of matches. And if you're playing against a France who is like poetry in motion going forward, they will be able to carve out chances. And Pickford at this moment, who you know I'm a fan of, over the last few years, has really grown on me. He has had nervous moments in 3 of the 4 matches at least once in the game.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that they can't eradicate defensively and be a little bit more solid, but they are having problems on the right back side. That is for sure. So we can talk about who is included, who's not included, and things of that nature. But as far as these games going forward in the tournament, they're going to be more open. That's going to play to England's strengths. So we're not going to play too many low block teams, or they aren't going to play too many low block teams anymore going in. Mexico's not going to play like that. That's for sure. And it's more of like a hope that they can get better defensively, but their strength is still going forward. So they may end up having to outscore teams. If they get to France, they won't be able to do it.
You sound to me, Brad, like pretty confident still about England. You called them abject yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Hail Mary. You play that against France, they're beaten 19-0. I mean, I'm going to the extremes, but you look at it and you say, what's in the thinking? The one thing that you wanted to do was against the Congo, start fast. Put your foot on their throat, give them no way into the game, give them no confidence, give them no belief. And irrespective of whether Congo sat in or came out, we should have been able to contend with it. Now, we've got what we've got. Spencer's not good enough. He's not good enough to be in that position. I don't know why he's been selected. He wasn't good enough before the tournament. He hasn't got better during the tournament. And he's not going to get better as a result of being in the tournament, in my view.
Well, interestingly, Wayne Rooney is quoted as saying that Kyle Walker should have been taken to the USA. He would be doing a better job. Wayne Rooney, beg your pardon, Kyle Walker, incidentally, joins the boys on Drive After Us. But it's too late for that now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kyle Walker's playing for a poorly relegated Burnley side, which he had zero effect upon it, conceded hundreds of goals. So I'm not sure where that argument comes from. Once upon a time, Kyle Walker all day, every day of the week and twice on Sunday, but not now.
Yeah.
But you look at the England side, and I want to make a case for it because it's really easy to pile on. It's really easy to be negative. It's really easy to join the bandwagon. But it's difficult to watch. Now, Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea on the back of not playing particularly attractive football, finding their way through games. So I don't think he really cares how England play as long as they win. And that's his mindset. And he will take the positive out of it. We won. We kept on going towards the end. Well, so you should. And with due respect to the Congolese, their game fell away as the game went on and they became stretched and tired. And for whatever reason, England were able to get themselves back in the game because of the excellence of Harry Kane. Poor goalkeeper on the first goal, which got us back in the game. Brilliant second goal. But you look at it, you go, Declan Rice is like a machine hitting dead balls in there. Look at the first 3 or 4 corners that he hit in. Bang, first man, bang, first man, bang, first man. All of a sudden he starts changing his corners to balloons across the box because he seems to have his confidence gone. You look at Rice and you look at Saka when they come on, they look knackered. They look like players that have been in a long season and haven't got it. And ironically for England, Declan looked better at right back than what we've got, and that might be a conundrum for Thomas Tuchel that he changes that. But I look across the field: Rashford, no end products; Madueke, no end products. You know, you look defensively. The goalkeeper doesn't worry me so much because goalkeepers make mistakes. That's what happens in games every now and again. And sometimes Pickford makes wonderful saves. But I look at it and say, that is not a team, in my mind, that has any chance of winning this World Cup when it comes up against serious opposition.
What makes this remarkable is how differently you two see it.
Well, I think if you're English, you're going to see it with emotion as well. And I don't have any emotion in this. Like the only person on the whole team that I played with and know is Harry Kane. I want him to do well, and he is doing well, and he's scoring loads of goals. But I don't want him to do well so much.
But Simon's assessment. It's not just emotional, Brad.
No,
it's kind of on the money, isn't it?
Well, his assessment is his assessment. It's his opinion, and he's right about a lot of
Do you not think there feels
things.
an awful lot more wrong than right about this England side?
No, see, that's where we're going to differ. I don't think. I think defensively, and especially the right back, I think they're having a hard time, and I think, and I don't really know. Can you pull out Declan Rice from the middle of midfield and play him at right back?
Would you want to?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a different story.
Would you do that?
Can Anderson go in the middle? Would you put Mainu in there? Could you play two? Could you put Bellingham and Rodgers at the same time with a hold? I don't know.
What's the mindset, Brad? I mean, with all due respect, you know, everybody sat here. Moderately related football people from being an ownership point of view but not being a player, people that came on, Stuart Pearce, everyone that understands football said the first thing they've got to do is go out and step on their throats. And you could see from the first minute, Madueke goes down the wing, puts a ball in the box. He's not a player in the box. And the mindset is, strange. It seems to be.
I think they thought it was going to be easier than they thought. That is, I think they saw.
Really?
I think they saw Democratic Republic of Congo on the team sheet, and they thought they would go out and it was going to be a little bit easy-ozy, and they would probably sit back. That's what it looked like. And it's always easier in a football match to start fast and then take your foot off the pedal, because if you start with your foot off the pedal, it's really difficult to get going.
Yeah.
If you start fast and get a goal against a team you think is going to bank up, then all of a sudden the game changes. So the logical conclusion would be start fast, get a goal, then it can't bank up, can they?
Well, you should always start fast. I'm just saying.
We never do.
But in sport, and especially in football, when you do it the other way around, they did.
And the opponents had something to do with it, did they not? DR Congo going home very unhappy, incidentally, that they were eliminated and not England. A lot more to get through. It's 1:30 back with you in the UK, 8:30 and roasting here in New York in the morning, and we're live in talkSPORT.
He shouldn't get beat near post, mate. He should not get beat near post. I'm not having it.
That football saying has been knocking around since I was a kid. Right? In that situation, there's no defender in front of him. He's had a touch. He's got his head up. He's got the goal to aim at. He can go that way. He can go this way. Pickford knows that. Stop saying he shouldn't get beat.
No, but, all right, okay, right.
Are you saying it's a crime?
No, he shouldn't get beat. He shouldn't get beat.
Why not? Why not?
Right, stand there. Right, we've got two posts here. Right, that's a goal. Right, please, for me.
What's the goal?
Well, there's the goal. You got a post there and you got a post there. All right, talkSPORT's the goal. All right.
So that's their post.
Yeah, you got.
That's their post.
Yeah, right. You got your Seaman shirt on. Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm the Congo player.
I'm set.
Well, no, you're not set because you're in the middle of the goal. You got to set. You're standing there.
Hold on. That's the post.
That's the near post.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
What's that?
What do you mean? That's the back post. Don't worry about that. You don't need the mic. All right. People can hear you.
Where are you?
I'm here. I'm the Congo player. I've got the ball.
Get back a bit.
Right. I'm here.
Yeah.
You're standing in the middle of the goal for one. You're in the wrong place.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
I'm happy.
You're not happy.
I'm happy.
Okay, well, I'll score near post.
Okay, but you can score there as well.
No, but that's not where you stand. You stand there.
Okay, I stand here.
No, you don't stand outside the post, do you? You stand next to the near post.
Okay.
I shouldn't score there.
Okay.
I should not score there.
Where's he going to score?
If he scores there,
Yeah.
in the top corner.
No, forget top corner. Where's he top corner?
If he scores there, there's more space. It's a better strike.
Yeah.
It goes across the keeper.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good goal.
So what's wrong with that?
But that's not where Pickford's standing.
Iconic. There's no other word. An 18-carat gold trophy that owns the world, and it waits. It waits for 4 years. It's 1971, and FIFA need a new trophy to replace the Jules Rimet, so they launch a worldwide design competition. And in his studio in Milan, 50-year-old sculptor Silvio Gazzaniga immediately gets to work. But instead of sending FIFA a picture, he goes further and makes a prototype they can hold. It works. FIFA choose his design over 52 others, and perhaps the most beautiful piece of silverware or goldenware enters the beautiful game. Let's let the artist himself describe it. Gazzaniga said the idea was to create something symbolising exertion, dynamism, and the jubilation of an athlete in the moment of victory, with all the joy that contains. The malachite rings in the base fitted the sculpture well because it's green like a football field, and it's also a precious stone. The first captain to lift the trophy was Franz Beckenbauer in 1974, and of course, it's only the greatest who get their hands on it. Zoff, Matthias paved the way for the modern-day heroes who dreamt of lifting Gazaniga's masterpiece. But there was something about this man holding it that seemed to deliver everything the sculptor had imagined. Were I to ever redo it, the artist once said, I wouldn't change a thing.
New York, New York. We've come to love this place. Maybe not love it that much today, though, when it's going to get so hot. 37, 38 degrees in this part of the world later on. We'll cope. You have to cope. New Yorkers do, so why can't we? We're live in New York, live another show this morning on talkSPORT. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Brad Friedel with us. And we're with you in partnership with Toolstation, First Stop Toolstation. We're looking at the games, of course, that are taking place later on today. 3 of them right across the talkSPORT network. Spain against Austria, Portugal, Croatia, Switzerland against Algeria. That is then, but right now we're focusing on what happened last night, yesterday in Atlanta, Georgia, when England went in against DR Congo and came close. Came mightily close, but went through thanks to the magic of Harry Kane. And that sets up a last 16 clash with Mexico in Mexico City, Monday, 1 a.m. for you in the morning. 1 a.m. live on talkSPORT. That's going to be dramatic. It was dramatic enough yesterday, Simon, was it not? Thomas Tuchel's England. To you, is it a better version of Gareth Southgate's? Are you seeing in Tuchel's England what you wanted to see and what you didn't see in Southgate?
No, but we haven't arrived at the moment where I can compare this to Southgate's. We've been, I thought we were a poor watch in Qatar, so we are a poor watch now. I mean, we had that 20-minute spell against the Croatians where everyone got elevated, and rightly so, because they looked an irresistible attacking force. But that's the one moment we can cling on to. We've navigated our way through games, and whatever we want to go on about and talk about, and the fact that this, that by the width of a post we were 2-0 down. We can talk about how we could have got back in the game and how we did this, that, and the other. We could have been 2-0 down. We could talk about the chances that we had, but we could have been 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And then we might have had a real bugger's muddle. But I'm waiting for the opportunity to see Tuchel, because I'm going to keep the faith of my position on the fact he's an elite manager when it comes on top. I think we'll beat the Mexicans. I do. I don't think they're a great side. But I'm looking at us down the right-hand side thinking, when I've got Mbappe running against someone like Spence or Vinicius Jr., if we get those games, what the hell is going to happen to us? But we'll deal with those in the moment. So it's not, for me, it's not a situation where I want to compare to what Southgate's done previously, because you can't compare it. It's exactly the same. It's turgid. It's not easy on the eye. It's painful to watch. The team doesn't look cohesive, and we are not a great watch. We're not a fluid side. We don't look like we've got any energy. All these wonderful players that we get to watch.
They look worse. They almost look worse under Tuchel yesterday.
Well, I mean, come off it.
Didn't they? Defensively,
that's the Scottish coming out. Come on, Jim.
No, but they're not worse.
Have they ever looked this bad defensively?
Yeah, of course. You're like making this to sound like they can't beat anyone and they can't correct their mistakes. Like, if you break down the mistake, the mistake Pickford made was just a technical mistake. He's not going to make that again in the tournament, or he shouldn't. He'll know exactly what he's done.
But 4 games into a tournament, as you pick up momentum and the opposition becomes what it becomes, you expect to see more cohesiveness.
Yeah.
And so you make a point about how bad we've been. I watched us against the US in Qatar, and we were poor.
I know.
We were pedestrian.
Yeah.
We were passive.
Yeah.
It was a dull watch. And the USA were a better side. And if they'd had a cutting edge up top, they'd have beaten us. So we've been here before.
Right.
But Tuchel, for me, is just something about him that manages to navigate. Look at that Champions League final against Manchester City. Look at the way they got to the Champions League final with Chelsea. It wasn't easy on the eye. It wasn't appealing to watch. But they won.
So, so how do you both assess it then, Brad? Do you think we're approaching this in an overcritical manner? Croatia, Ghana, Panama and Congo. Can you tell me England are growing into the tournament, or that they're getting progressively worse?
They're not getting progressively worse. They're about this. They're about the same. You know, they're getting fortunate in some sense that they're getting through, but they're given another chance to correct the mistakes. And this Mexico team, I agree with Simon, is not a great side. So it's another opportunity to go out there and stamp your style on them and also win. But the most important thing is that you continue to keep winning. The most important thing is you continue to keep believing. The other most important thing is that if you play, so let's say you go and play Brazil, the midfield of England is better than the midfield of Brazil. Now, Vinny Jr., I would agree with you. That's going to be a problem. But Harry Kane's going to be a problem for them. So it's not this doom and gloom stuff that everyone should be thinking, or I'm not thinking about it. I understand the history of England. I understand the glass is half empty from a lot of people. And I understand it's not been this, it's not like watching France on the field at this moment in time. And I think that's also what a lot of people are comparing England to, is France right now. And they're
I think that's an easy go-to. They're watching what they're watching, and their eyes don't lie. And we can all sit there. And I don't think it's a half-empty glass. People want to win. We're the ones that run around with this bleeding song, you know, about it's coming home. So if you want a half-empty glass, then that's not defining it.
You should change your song.
But absolutely we should. But we are watching what we're watching. And we're watching players that seem to be... That 20-minute period after the Congolese scored, they were all over the place. They couldn't pass a ball 10 yards. No one could trap a ball. No one could move a ball. Again, I go back to Declan Rice. I mean, I'm a big fan of Declan. I don't think he is what people think he is in terms of, you know, a player that can make clever passes, because he doesn't ever do it. But look at the set pieces we were hitting yesterday. We couldn't hit a ball in the box. We couldn't hit a bit of quality. No one could pull a ball down. I watched Saka come on. Saka pulls balls out of airs like cherries. He can't trap a ball. It seemed to be the whole team seemed to be suffering from malaise, and that's got to be psychological. Rashford does nothing. Nothing. Get him in the team. Got to have Rashford in the team.
And Brad, you're seeing what he's seeing.
Yeah, but I'm also seeing Rashford's chance saved off the line. Bellingham's header saved. Another Bellingham header saved. Kane's chance at the end of the half.
We're going to get chances.
I'm also seeing chances.
We're going to get chances against a Congolese side. But we could have been 2-0 down, Brad.
Yeah, of course.
And by the width of a post.
And by the time you could have been 2-0 down, you also could have been 3-1 up. It's a game of football. You're always going to concede a chance or two against teams, especially as you go forward in the competition. I'll tell you, you're going to concede 3 or 4 chances in the first 15 minutes against Mexico. And whether those chances are shots from 25 meters out, or if it's a great cross and a header. And you're going to need a defender, you're going to need a goalkeeper to get yourself through it.
Or we're going to go on the front foot and make the opposition worry more about us than we worry about them, and we're going to get a goal and put the opposition into a position.
But even if you do that, which I think you can do, you're still going to concede a chance. Like
you do at high level. I hear that.
Brad, on the Pickford moment and the Brian Sapenga goal, he came in for a fair bit of stick, as goalkeepers do. Yeah, it's part of life for you lot. Is it wrong to suggest a goalkeeper should never be beaten at his near post?
Oh, it's wrong. Okay.
Would you have saved that yesterday? Would you have saved
that? Jim, of course I would. No, I'm just kidding. This is
as he is now. You would have saved it as he is now.
You saw me doing the penalties. If a player comes closer to you on the angle and your arms end up going down, and they blast it over your shoulder, and someone says, "Oh, you got done in the near post," so what? Like it's really difficult to save that. Jordan Pickford will know exactly what he did. He took too big of a hop. His feet weren't set at the time he was striking the ball, and then he hit it with pace. There was a little dip on the ball, so then that's an extra movement you had to go, and he was slow getting down. He will watch it. He'll be upset. He'll know exactly what he's going to do, but there's nothing that you can really go through in training and fix it. What are you going to go out and do 100 strikes to the near post and then do it right? Because he's done it correctly for over a decade.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. It's just one of those things that happen.
Got it. We will return to England very shortly. We're going to take some calls as well, because Simon has his views clearly as to where England are, and Brad, who played the game at the highest level, has got his views as well. Before we get into some calls, 03717 223344. Come on and join us, incidentally, here in New York. Let's get the latest at Wimbledon and Lisa O'Sullivan.
And we're watching Katie Swan taking on the 26th seed Madison Keys, of course, a Australian Open champion from last year. And it's a bit one-way traffic at the moment on court number 1. Madison Keys serving to take the first set, 5-1. There was a little hint of a break of serve for Katie Swan about 3 games ago, but Madison Keys has really just turned the heat up in this one. Over on court 18, starting at 11 this morning, Arthur Ferry taking on Otto Virtanen of Finland. The wild card against the qualifier, looking good for the Brit. He's 2-1 up and 2-1 in the 4th set.
So, Lisa, thank you very much indeed. Where do you stand on England fans today? The morning after, the night before, you almost went out. You didn't. Harry Kane came to the rescue and you progressed. It's Mexico City next. But is it your belief that England are miles off winning this World Cup? If that's the case, if it's not the case, give us a call, 03717 223344. On this, if you've tuned in right from the start, and I hope you did, whose camp are you in? In Simon's camp or Brad's camp about England? Give us a call, 03717 223344.
So if we get knocked out by Mexico,
yes,
you still want a statue for Kane?
It won't happen.
Do you want a statue for Kane?
Yes.
We get knocked out in the last 16.
This conversation does not need to take place. Why have you decided to phone up talkSPORT and say Kane deserves a statue? Why? What made you do that? Why did you think that? I know what I'll do. I'm going to phone the boys and say Kane deserves a statue. What made you do that?
Of course he deserves a statue.
He's not. He's still playing.
Yes, exactly. So he can get even more goals. So it can back up.
Why do you wait till he retires and see what he does? Do you give someone a statue? You don't give a statue to a player who's still playing, do you?
Of course you do. Why not?
Okay, I don't know this, but you can maybe help me. Name a player that's got a statue.
Ronaldo.
They're still playing.
Ronaldo is.
Okay. Go on. All right. Go on. Okay. Okay. Name another one. Where's the statue, by the way? In Ronaldo.
I think it's in an airport somewhere.
You can't have a statue in an airport, mate.
It's in Madeira, yeah.
You can't have that.
I think Kane has got a statue somewhere. Hasn't he?
You can't have it outside Wembley.
I think Kane has got a statue. I think I've seen it.
Mate, listen, Michael Jackson had a statue outside Fulham. He didn't score 1 goal for him, all right? All right? But come on, let's have this right. You've seen that statue outside of Jacko? See it?
It's a good statue.
Mate, it's terrible. He got
No, it's a good statue.
Mate, it's not, mate.
You know, it's all right, that.
Mate, I don't know what was going on there. That was a weird one.
I ain't against Harry Kane having a statue.
No, not now.
But not now.
Let him finish his career. Let him see what he can.
Yeah, Harry Kane's got a statue in Leighton. There you go. I knew he had one.
In where?
Leighton.
That don't count, mate. You can't have that. You can't claim that.
What do you mean?
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
It's all happening in New York. 4th of July celebrations coming up, of course. J.D. Vance is going to be in town today, we hear. And, of course, people getting ready for the big event, Madison Square Garden. Taylor Swift marrying Travis Kelce. Is that his name? Kelce. I'm not up to speed with these things. I don't read. Kelce, thank you very much indeed. There's giggles and snorting going on in this studio.
You're going to stay an extra day, so you can hang out outside, aren't you?
Oh, well, I am indeed. I'm invited to the ceremony itself. I don't know if I'm going to the after ceremony thing, Brad. I'll see, mate. I'll see. In the meantime, we are going to look ahead to the day that's ahead here for us with talkSPORT Bet. And talkSPORT Bet's ambassador, Ryan Douglas, joins us live. Ryan, it is all happening in New York, mate. You know exactly what we mean by that, having just left this busy, busy city. So where do we go this morning? What should we start? Harry Kane. Why not start with Harry? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, let's do it. And thank goodness for him. How amazing were those 2 goals? So, yeah, I mean, we're looking at how it translates to the betting. I've been really fascinated by Brad and Simon's dynamic today about how they're viewing things differently. And I find myself, I couldn't agree more with Simon, but then that leads me to believe that Brad might be right about the emotion thing. So it's quite interesting in terms of Harry Kane himself. So he's 3rd in the betting right now to be the top goal scorer. He's 6-1 compared to Messi and Mbappe, who are 1st and 2nd. And even though he's on the same amount of goals as Haaland's 20-1. And again, the way that is worked out is they just factor into their thinking how deep these teams can go into the tournament, I suppose. The bet for Harry Kane, really, to score 2 or more against Mexico is 9-1 right now. But in terms of the man himself, I don't know if you guys saw Carragher's article. He wrote an article about Kane and about England, and he suggested that Kane would be, to summarise, that Kane would be England's greatest ever, if not for his teammates. That is obviously paraphrasing, but that's how to sum it up. I don't know, Brad, is that English being emotional again, or do you see any truth in that?
So that's quite a statement. He said that Harry Kane would be the best ever if his teammates were better.
Yeah, England's greatest ever player. Yeah.
He's achieving it in spite of them.
Well, let's see what happens the rest of the tournament. Let's see what happens in the next Euros. I think that's a little bit of a slight against a player like Jude Bellingham. I think it's a little bit of a slight against even an emerging talent like Mainu. We don't know what his career is going to be like, and others. Saka's another one that, if fully fresh and fully going, can he do better in his career? I think it's a little bit of a slight towards other players around him. So I do agree that he is arguably one of the greatest ever England players, but I don't think it is correct to say that he's not going to achieve that because of his other team.
You wouldn't have written that script in the Euros, would you? It's a narrative of the time. So the 4 games where Kane has played, I don't think he's played brilliantly, but he scored goals, and that's his primary function. In the Euros, the entire nation were asked, well, not the entire nation, entire sections of the media were saying, hoik him out of the team. He don't look fit.
That's right.
So
yeah, he's looking leggy.
The narrative of the moment.
Exactly. Where are you at, Ryan, regards England and potentially getting to the final?
Yeah, 3-1 at the moment. They're 3-1 and 3rd in the betting. And again, that's compared to Argentina, who are 13-8, and France, who are the favourites to make the final at 4-5. Again, it was a really interesting listen there between Brad and Simon about how they think England will progress. I mean, Simon, you mentioned Tuchel and knockout football. You've spoke to me about it before, and potentially as it goes on, these are the games where he might excel. We didn't see that against the Congolese. Do you think that's feasible? That style, that way to approach it. I mean, if it's so high risk if we just get the job done against Brazil, if we go in with that mentality.
The object of the aim is to suggest that maybe he rises, or boats rise in a high tide. High tide. I'm thinking of Erling Haaland again. I'm not emotively invested. My eyes don't betray me. I'm objective about it. I look at it and go, I'd have the same. If I watch another side, I watch Scotland, other sides, I call what I see for what I see. My belief is that I'm going to cling to the hope that when the team that plays us against us is better, we will rise to that level. That's what I'm going to cling to, and then I'm going to carry on believing that Tuchel, there is a method to his madness, because I can't on one hand say he's an elite coach and then look at the outcomes and just go, it's awful, it's going to take us nowhere. We're through. I'm objective about it. I think we were poor. I think we were lucky. A better side would have put us away. But against a better side, we might be better. So I'm going to continue to subscribe to the view that Tuchel makes a difference. and wait to be proven different.
Okay, and more immediately, where are you going with Mexico? Because that's up next, Ryan, in Mexico City.
Yeah, I know. It's a very, very early look at this one. So I watched a few of the games out there with you. I was very negative. I'm one of those negative England fans, and I need to get better at it. So I'm trying to clean the slate now and be positive and look ahead to this one. England are the favourites. That's the message of the day, Jim. To carry on that belief, they are the favourites for this game. And again, Brad said earlier that they're a poor side, and they try and suffocate you, as he said, in the first 20 minutes. So talkSPORT bet saying England will get through that 20 minutes, and they're on at 11-8, and they're the favourites. And Mexico are 85-40. So Brad, talkSPORT bet are agreeing with you and think that England should do this one.
Rightly so.
Rightly so, says Brad Friedel. Actually, Ryan, before you leave us, on Tuchel, it's quite a remarkable take, really, from him. He says, regards Mexico City, England can't really be ready for the Azteca. This is Tuchel.
It is maybe one of the most beautiful fixtures, most exciting fixtures that you can have. You play against Mexico in the Azteca, and there will be a lot of obstacles waiting for us. Not to mention, like, the altitude will be, of course, a big disadvantage because we cannot physically adapt to it in 4 days. It's just impossible. So, and more obstacles will maybe come. So, but we are ready for that. We need it. Maybe we have the ideal platform now to genuinely believe that we are ready for that, and when the going gets tough, that we will find the answers.
Ryan, thank you very much indeed. That was Tuchel speaking ahead of this game in Mexico City. Brad, is it your view that no nation should have to meet Mexico in Mexico City?
It's a huge advantage for them, and there's other elements that don't even get spoken about. So the fans are going to find out what hotel England's in, and they'll try to pull the fire alarm all night long in the hotel. Happened every time we were down there for qualifying. They will find out where the hotel is, and they'll put on mariachi bands outside for all hours of the day to try to disrupt your sleep. They will support their team in the stadium, which is brilliant. That's no big deal. That's to be expected. And the altitude it's the most difficult element of the tournament to come through. Not impossible to come through. We've gotten results down there.
Yeah.
It's just hard to deal with it. If you've never played at altitude before and you've never encountered it, you might not know how to really navigate yourself through it. Like when Greg Berhalter was here, do you remember his word was, you just have to grind through, and that's absolutely right.
Okay. Ryan, thank you very much for being with us. The other side of this upcoming break, we're going to take some calls from you. England fans, is there any way, in your eyes, that England will go all the way and win this World Cup after what you've seen thus far, particularly yesterday against Congo? Do you still think they've got it to get there to win in the final? If not, what is your prime concern at this particular stage in the proceedings? Give us a call, 03717 223344. 2 o'clock with you back home in the afternoon, 9 in the morning here. And with Ryan, that was a look at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Gabby's not so happy that even though we won the game, not happy with Harry Kane.
Not happy with Harry Kane?
I'm happy with a lot of the players.
6 out of 10, Andros, he gave him for that.
Why? Please elaborate.
I thought Harry Kane for most of the game, dropping too deep as he done in the Euros. I thought his hold-up play wasn't great. Yes, fantastic goal, the second one. That's what he's been doing all season. That's what Harry Kane can do. But if you were talking about the whole 90 minutes, I think he can do a lot more.
But he's the last 5-6 years of his career, he's been dropping deep. And I think now we've finally got the runners. We've finally got a coach who can tell the runners, Jude Bellingham, Rashford or Madueke, when Harry drops deep, that's your cue to come inside and
They
run
weren't
him
though,
behind.
was they? Last night. How many times?
I think there was. I think
how
Jude.
Many times
how
in
many
the box
times
did
did
we have
Jude?
players? We didn't, mate.
Sorry?
How many times were Madueke about to cross it and there's no one breaking the neck into the box? I
think
agree.
Jude
If he does
made-
drop off
Jude
Kane,
made
Jude's
4
got
or
to.
5. I think he's made 4 or 5 good runs off the back of Harry Kane dropping deep.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'm not
Just let me ask you my argument when I was having this discussion with Gabby this morning was no matter how a goal scorer plays during the 90 minutes, if he scores 2 goals, one of them's the winner and an absolute banger, he's had the perfect match. Like, please let him do that against Mexico. Please let him do that against Brazil. And all the way to the final.
Well, Kane was the least of our problems. I haven't made that like Kane was the big issue.
But
Don't twist it to that side.
I'm not twisting it.
We had 10 more problems than Harry Kane.
I know, but we'll get to the other players in a moment. But I want to ask Andros, if you score 2 goals and you win the game with an absolute humdinger, can you have anything but a great game as a goal scorer?
No, your job is there to score goals. Harry is our talisman. He's there to get us out of situations.
Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. We start with some breaking news. We knew it was going to happen. Manchester City have announced that they have signed Elliot Anderson. They say he has completed a medical in Kansas and the formalities of the move will be finalised upon his return to England. We know it's £116 million. Manchester City announcing the Elliot Anderson deal with formalities to be completed after the World Cup. Bringing more on that, of course, throughout the afternoon here on talkSPORT. Now, he was supposed to be England's midfield saviour this summer, the Premier League winning world-class leader with pinpoint set pieces. So how are we talking about Declan Rice as a right-back for England? Simon Jordan admits Thomas Tuchel now has a problem.
You look at Rice and you look at Saka when they come on, they look knackered. They look like players that have been in a long season and haven't got it. And ironically for England, Declan looked better at right-back than what we've got, and that might be a conundrum for Thomas Tuchel that he changes that.
Yeah, so many issues for Tuchel to address. If Rice moves, who replaces him? Is Jordan Pickford an issue? How do you get the starting wingers influencing proceedings? Why are they so open at the back? Roy Hodgson was on with us this morning and says he certainly can't just blame the back four for the dodgy first half hour.
Watching that period of time when actually Congo played quite well, I thought, you know, you're blaming the defence, but I mean, the defence is the whole team, and I think that as England go forward, they're going to have to ask a bit more of their wide players.
Still no official confirmation from Nottingham Forest of Vitor Pereira's removal as manager, but Oliver Glasner is inching closer to replacing him. Crystal Palace fans already hate Forest after their Europa League Conference League swap last season, and talkSPORT's ex-Palace man Darren Ambrose says this damages Glasner's legacy as their greatest boss.
There's only maybe Millwall, Brighton and potentially Charlton that Oliver Glasner could have gone to that would have got a worse reaction than what he has now.
And Phil Mickelson has claimed he's been the victim of an anonymously sourced drive-by shooting by golfing publication Scratch. He's denied claims in an article that he's been banned from 3 clubs for inappropriate interactions with women. There's more at talkSPORT.com.
talkSPORT News.
The leader of the Rochdale grooming gang is now out of prison despite outcry from victims, and the car finance compensation scheme has been partly suspended over legal challenges. Emma has more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Dry for most, though some showers in the northwest, the west of Scotland and in Northern Ireland, staying that way into tonight.
Ready?
Hi everybody, another very hot day here in New York City. It's going to go up to 37, 38 degrees in this part of the world later on this afternoon. But we are live nonetheless. And the World Cup is cracking on at a real pace now. Later on today, and of course, all these games live across the talkSPORT network. Spain against Austria kicks us off. Portugal against Croatia. Who's going to come out on top in that one? And we finish with Switzerland against Algeria. Off the back of England progressing yesterday, albeit it was a struggle at times, but out go DR Congo, and England crack on in this tournament. They're heading to Mexico. We stay here in New York. The news, and you heard in Toby's bulletin a short time ago, Nottingham Forest confirming an agreement now reached with Manchester City for the transfer of Elliot Anderson. The figure being spoken about, 116, right? Not 115. 116. £116 million. Brad Friedel and Simon alongside me here. Forest say the necessary formalities will be completed in due course. The club will pay tribute to Elliot's outstanding contribution over the past 2 seasons at the appropriate time. It's interesting. We've spoken about this, Simon. We've spoken about it on a few occasions since we've been here, Brad. You know Elliot Anderson. Is he going to live up to the billing?
The signs are there. I mean, he's a hard worker. He's a decent passer of the ball. You'd like to think when he has better players around him on the club level that he'll grow again. He seems to be respected in the game by his fellow teammates, and I think he's just going to grow from strength to strength. Let's see how he deals with the pressure at a bigger club, where if you don't play, you can be dropped. That's probably going to be the next part of his development in his career. And the big change is, and none of us know exactly how this Man City team's going to be because they have a new manager.
Okay, Elliot Anderson, it's all done, Simon. Off he goes to Manchester City. Passed a medical in Kansas yesterday, reportedly, and he's a Manchester City player from this point onwards. Many of you getting in touch out here, and many of you calling in 03717 223344. A text this morning from Jason. Simon, Jason is saying England are bang average from the time the squad was announced. Jed Spence shouldn't have been anywhere near this team. He's been dreadful. Unfortunately, over the past 6 years, says Jason, we've had one of the best teams, but the wrong manager. Now we have the right manager, and the team has gone backwards, while other national teams have improved. That's England's problem. Do you agree with that?
Well, he selected the squad, so I don't know which players he thinks have been omitted that potentially Tuchel could have had access to. I know that we've talked about Kyle Walker being a better right back in previous tournaments than Jed Spence. You know, that's a view. It's an interesting view. It's interesting to see. I'll go back to Elliot Anderson for a second. It'll be interesting to see how he develops at Man City, because there's a school of thought which says, and it might be a school of thought that people disagree with, that when Calvin Phillips went into Man City, he was actually a better player than Anderson, had a better, passed the ball better. And look what happened to him. He got swallowed into a vacuum and has never quite recovered from it.
Okay.
And I'd be interested to see what Sean Dyche thinks about him, because obviously Sean had him at Nottingham Forest, and the rumour is that he was one of the players that went to Marinakis that got Dyche out of the job in the first place. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of character he is and how he behaves when he goes into a new club with Maresca trying to find his feet, trying to live up to a legacy manager that's just gone.
Yeah.
He's going to come straight into focus, irrespective of whether Man City ownership will go, oh, no, he's not under pressure.
Yeah.
He'll be under pressure because the expectation is high.
Brad, as happens with Simon and myself in the show when we're back in London, out here, it's exactly the same. Many of you calling in, we'll get to that. Many of you sending in messages. Here's one. Refreshing to hear Brad's positive views today about England. He epitomises the American desire to emphasise the positive and the English desire to emphasise the negative. Go Brad Friedel, says Cheryl, who's a Sunderland fan.
As long as it says go.
No. Is there a different mindset here between the likes of you and some of the English?
No, I just watching the games in that game, the DR Congo game, that you created a lot of chances. In the Ghana game, I thought going forward it wasn't good enough going forward. But I think England still have the weapons to go far into the tournament. You tell me another team that has played brilliant other than France in this tournament. Spain's had wobbles. Belgium's had wobbles.
Argentina looked good.
Who Argentina played?
Well, I qualify that. Messi looks good.
Okay, but Messi always looks good. Who
in terms of the caliber of opponent?
Yeah. They haven't had a
Brazil are getting better.
A little better, but Brazil has an issue in their squad too. I think their squad makeup in the center of midfield can be outdone by many of the other teams.
But they are getting better. In the first game against Morocco, you looked at Brazil and thought, "Ooh, that's a side that is going to be in serious trouble. They're going to flatter to deceive." And they've got they had rubbish old Scotland to play against, and whatever else. But they beat the Japanese, which is a good result. And by the way, whatever this lady's name is, have a listen to what he said about the US at the beginning of the competition. So he wasn't so bleeding positive about the US, was he?
Yeah, this is the Cheryl.
You.
When?
At the beginning of the competition.
Look,
when?
we've started, Cheryl.
I was hopeful.
I'm not going to allow him.
I'm not
going to be asked to be.
Wait,
because you're
what did I?
But me to be painted into a
corner.
Where
have I? You don't like being the glasses half empty guy, do you?
No, I don't.
The eternal optimist.
Because I know it's not true. Because I know I'm sat with someone who has reservations about the US team. Didn't think they were going to go particularly deep in this tournament, and that's not the same as being a half glass full.
I was hopeful. I wasn't.
I'm hopeful.
I didn't think.
I'm realistic as well. England look poor, right? Is it wrong?
You don't think that Brad's being realistic about the England situation?
No, I don't think that analysis that's being sent forward is. It's nice to hear Brad being a half glass full rather than half empty. Cobblers. He's the same about the US as we've been about the English. Not you, of course. You want to be delighted to see
the eternal optimist. Full of negativity. That can't be the same.
I was in a room yesterday where I was torn in a situation where I've got a Scot dying for England to lose, and I've got Luke desperate for them to lose so he can get a better story on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was confronted with.
And I feel for you on that because I can understand that you wanted to win. I get that. And I mean, your lot's already home. We don't need to bang on Scotland.
Don't you follow him?
No. But this is the most negative English. Well, he's not even a supporter.
Just before we leave this topic, we will go to calls. Luke, there are so many calls coming in. We will go to calls in a second.
Luke.
Not about producer Luke, who, even though he is English and resides in Colchester, wanted Scotland to do well, and wouldn't have minded if England went out yesterday. Here's the situation. Are you absolutely confident, or as confident as you can be, Brad, that England will progress on Sunday?
Yes, I think they'll beat Mexico. I have no confidence or faith in Mexico as a group and as a team, and I think when they hit adversity, the first hydration break, if England's up 1-0, the boos won't be for the hydration break. It'll be whistles against their team. That's how the supporters are in Mexico City.
Right. Even though Mexico will indulge in the dark arts before the game, as you say, outside the team hotel, etc., etc.
But you can use their supporters against their home team as well.
I wonder, though, how many of you out there listening or watching on YouTube this morning, with you back home on an afternoon, of course, I wonder how many of you would think, now this England team, seemingly miles off, even getting to a final, never mind winning the trophy over here. Brian's a Forest fan. Brian, hi. First things first, Brian, how do you feel about the Elliot Anderson situation?
Hi, Jim. How you doing? Simon?
Hi, Brian. You're with us. What about Elliot Anderson to start with?
I'm glad you asked me about that, to be honest, because I think the biggest mistake Tuchel made when he chose Anderson to go out to America was not taking Gibbs White, because Gibbs White makes Anderson look a better player when he plays with him, as does Sangare in the midfield, who plays for Ivory Coast.
Right.
So Anderson's going to get better, in my opinion. I think he's going to get better with age. However, is he worth 120 million? Not a chance. No way. Not yet. I think he's got the makings to be that sort of player. But Forrest played a certain type of football, and the players around him made him. I mean, he should be giving Gibbs White and Sangare a real nice drink, you know what I mean, for getting him up there at 120 million with that contract, because they made him what he is.
England,
really.
where are you at with England then, Brian? Where are you at with England?
Well, first of all, I revert to what Simon was saying. Kyle Walker should have been in the team, because I don't think there's a better right back with his experience. He might not have the pace, but he's solid. I think if we draw France or we draw Argentina, we're going to get an education in how to play football. I think they're going to batter us, and I just look at France and they're just on a different level. But thanks, Simon, also as well. I want to thank you for signing my book for me and sending it back.
What's that?
I missed that last part. Say that again, Brian. Simon signed his book for you and sent it back to you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You signed the book for me and sent it back. Can you remember? I don't know what took you so long. It's not like you're busy. It was 4 weeks, you know. It's not good enough. I mean, so yeah,
like
but
that.
I'm sure
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, Brian. We get time for another call before we hit break. We have Leeds fan Tom is waiting to speak to us. Tom, hi to you from New York. I mean, do you think England are miles off winning this thing out here?
Yes, absolutely. It's just, the thing that I'm struggling with the most. I was in a pub last night filled with England fans, and everyone I spoke to said the same thing. It's just scary and anxious watching England. And anyone that thinks that we can almost guarantee that we'll beat Mexico, like, did they not see the game last night? Everyone's picking on Jordan Pickford, saying he should have saved it at his post. But, like, how did they get the opportunity 8 minutes into a game against the team that are apparently ranked 4th in the world to smack one towards the goal? Last night was painful until we got the equaliser. Yeah, we had some chances, of course we did. But like Simon said before, we could have very easily been 2-0 down, and then it's a completely different kettle of fish. And it does, honestly, it scares me watching England. It makes me anxious. I'm watching it thinking, what's going to happen next? And I just think that Thomas Tuchel is a great manager. He's got experience, and he's done great things in his career. But I don't know what the answer is to make England the football team we all think they are.
Is it that bad? Honestly, is it that bad, Tom? I mean, are you not being a bit... You sound to me like an overly emotional England fan.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm the sort of person that looks at all of the England fans whinging and moaning, and for ages I've gone, oh, what are you doing? Just support your country, goodbye. And I've turned into one, and I hate that I have, because it's just, I can't see anything else. I mean, I'm watching this team, players that get paid a fortune, that are part of some of the biggest clubs in the world. I'm just thinking, what are we doing? We're missing the ball. We're getting possession of it and just letting it roll out of the pitch, and it's just I don't know. It's just, I really hope we do well. I really do. But I have got no confidence that we're going to beat Mexico. And all they proved last night, in my opinion, is we're not going to win the World Cup. And that's a sad thing to say for someone that supports England.
All right, Tom. Listen, you've had your say. We'll hear from a few more callers the other side of this break. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Brad Friedel. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Toolstation.
Harry Kane, I'm going to give him a 6.
What?
Fantastic second goal, but his overall performance, for me, not good enough.
He scored 2 goals.
I don't care, mate.
Okay, all right.
I don't care.
I don't see what more you want from a striker.
I played the position, mate. As a striker...
You've scored 2 goals in a World Cup knockout game?
What you want more as a striker is you need to be involved in the game. How many times were we saying last night, watching the game, get in the box, get in the box.
Let me ask you this now. When we play Mexico, right, if you had the option to take exactly the same Harry Kane performance with 2 goals or not and start from the beginning, what are you taking?
Yeah, of course you're taking the goals, but when you play better teams, you're not going to maybe score them chances. No offence to Congo.
Yeah, but he did.
But yeah, no. Of course he did. But is he going to do that against the top defences? He's not.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Okay, then. Here's one for you then.
Yeah.
Say if we get to the semi-finals, okay, and we're playing Argentina, or the final against France.
Yeah.
And he's not getting those chances. Do you still no problem with him playing centre field?
You're marking him
I'm saying,
on the performance that he did get them.
I'm asking you a question. You're talking about different games. I'm asking you a question. Against Argentina, say we get to the semi-finals, the final against France, do you want Harry Kane being more involved in the game? Do you want him holding the ball up?
If he scores 2 again, no.
What if he doesn't score 2?
Well then, yeah, but he did. Okay, yeah. But he did. But you're marking him on performance where he did score 2.
Exactly, but the whole performance isn't just about, you scored a great goal. What was your performance like for the whole game? Simple.
Okay. If you had that game,
yes,
and scored those 2 goals, would you feel a little bit down about your performance?
I would do, yeah. I'd be like, could I have done a lot more? Could I have done more
I
for
don't
my
think
team?
if you score 2 goals and the second one's like that as the win, I don't think you can feel
That's
down.
my opinion, mate.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
I'm just being honest.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Plenty of activity out on the Hudson this morning. We're live in New York. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, said to be coming into the city later on today. And Taylor Swift gets married tomorrow. It's all happening, isn't it? Saturday, or is it Saturday? I don't know. I'll have to have another look at my invite. Anyway, we are live in New York City, where there is plenty going on of that, there is no doubt. And of course, July the 4th, the celebrations for that coming up.
No desire to stay hang around for that, do we?
Well, Simon and I will not be hanging around for that. Brad, of course, will probably, no doubt, Brad Friedel will be in another part of the US, continuing with his coverage of this wonderful World Cup. Spain, Austria today, Portugal, Croatia, and Switzerland against Algeria. Those 3 games live across the talkSPORT network. We are asking the question this morning: is this England team miles off winning the World Cup? And maybe another question: how many more times can England play a get-out-of-jail card in Harry Kane and or Jude Bellingham? 03717 223344. The calls are flying in, and we knew they would. Gillingham fan Patch wants to join us. Patch, you've been patched through. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks. Yourself?
Good, thanks, Patch. What would you like to say on England then, mate?
Well, I just want to say that it doesn't matter really how you play, as long as you win. If we go through the whole tournament playing rubbish and winning, that's good for me.
Seriously? I mean, was that your thought on 90 minutes yesterday after the Congo match?
Yeah, I don't care. We won 2-1 at the end of the day. When we play the better side, they're going to come out and have a go at us, and it might give us more space behind, and we can then play properly. I mean, we should have took Trent. He could have been the right back, but you can't change all that now. Just don't matter how you play, as long as you win at the end of the day.
As long as you win, all right. Too late for the Trent argument now. Tottenham fan David is waiting to speak to us. David, good morning to you. Do you agree with Patch in that doesn't matter how you win, as long as you win?
No, that's a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it, really? Because you're just relying on luck then. So the difference is we haven't got anybody who can run through lines. You look at the French, they've got 3 or 4, 5 players who can run through lines. We haven't got anybody. Bellingham, maybe sometimes, but the gap between the defence and midfield is ridiculous. You could drive 14 buses through it, couldn't you? And so you just put pressure on your back 4, and then they'll go and score. Look at last night. We were lucky, weren't we? We had Gay and Konza just looking at each other going, why did he hit the post? Should have scored. So I just think it's ridiculous to say it's not how we play. It's about winning. You're just relying on luck 100% of the time then.
Oh, well, I mean, David, before you leave us, Brad Friedel here would suggest you're being overly pessimistic. Are you?
Well, that's the American psyche for you, isn't it? They're always really, really upbeat about stuff. But
dual citizen.
But let's listen to him when he goes into the next round. Let's see what he says then. But I get it. We are pessimistic as a nation, but rightly so at the moment.
All right. Does dual citizenship mean you can be optimistic and pessimistic in the same breath?
It means I can be the eternal optimist with negativity. I can do both when it suits me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that chance off the post was a deflection off of O'Reilly.
But it's a sod's law for English fans, because if you go into games saying you're going to beat these sides and you're arrogant, entitled Englanders, if you turn around and call it because England's performance is not very good, you're pessimistic. So you're caught in this never land of never being able to be one or the other.
Yeah. I'm almost about to say I feel for you, but I don't. Leeds fan Kevin wants to join us. Kevin, good morning. Where are you at with this? I mean, do you think this England side is miles off getting to the final, let alone winning it?
I don't, Jim, no. First of all, pleasure to speak to you all, particularly Simon. My views usually aligned with his. I've just come back from the USA. I watched the first 3 games and I've got a final ticket conditional on England getting there. But on this subject, particularly in relation to just last night's game, I find myself aligned with Brad's comments, looking at it as a neutral. And obviously I'm not. You can't go on using one of Simon's words, whataboutery. We haven't got Trent. We've got the squad that we've got. You can't say they should have had the second goal because they didn't get it. And if you did say that, you could say, well, we could have had 2 or 3, which is what Brad said earlier on. So it's very frustrating. I'm not sure where we're going. We're still in the tournament. The Germans have gone home, not very good. The Dutch have gone home, maybe what more was expected of them. The Scots have gone home, that was expected. But we are still there punching. So let's just see where we go with it.
Yeah, I was really enjoying your call right up until that last moment, Kevin. Kevin, before you leave us, how much have you paid for your ticket for the final?
So when the ticket prices were announced, obviously there were inflationary prices, and I applied because of my points total. I'm quite near the top. However, I didn't quite get into the top 400, which were made available at the $60 price. So mine's actually about 3,000, which is the next level.
3,000's the next level. Wow. Good grief. Who do you expect to see in the final, Kev?
Well, I think it'll be France. And I'm hoping that I'm there to see it because I've followed them for 30 years. I've invested a lot more than 3,000 over 30 years. And I've seen a lot more sort of downs than ups. And that's why my glass is still half full rather than half empty like a lot of people. I mean, Simon's view on this, surprisingly, is aligned with Cundy, O'Hara and Gabby this morning. It's unbelievable, really. You won't like that.
No. I know where you're going, Kevin. You're putting Simon in that Cundy O'Hara box, and probably you're not wrong to do so. Thank you very much. John, before we hit the break, big Liverpool fan. Where are you with England, John? Good morning from New York.
Good morning or good afternoon from the UK. I'm kind of clutching at straws here, and I think all the team need is just that bright little spark, that bit of invention, like we had with Kane last night. I always go back to Italia 90, the David Platt goal. We stunk the group out. We didn't do great against Cameroon, and then we had that bit of a spark that changed the whole perception of how England was seen in that tournament, and it changed that summer and that tournament for the better. I'm just hoping it's just around that corner.
Maybe it is. What do you think, Brad? Is he right to think like that, John?
Of course. England's got some great players in their team. We spoke about it before the tournament started. Yeah. I mean, they haven't been brilliant, of course, but they have the ability to. So you can think positively.
I'm recovering from the comparison. I can't have that in any shape or form. England are going to win the World Cup. They're going to beat France 17-1, and I'm going to do everything now to distance myself from Cundy and
we're going to
Jamie O'Hara.
do everything we can to push you towards that show. Of that, there is no doubt. It's 2:30 back home in the UK. It's 9:30 here in the morning. It's Jim White and Brad Friedel live on talkSPORT, and soon to be Jason Cundy, Jimmy O'Hara, and Simon Jordan live on the Sports Bar. You'll enjoy that for sure. The new norm appears to be 100, 120 million. Will the market reset at some stage?
Who cares? I mean, this is the nature of the business. It's a circular industry that spends its money in a certain way. Who cares? What the big concern for me is about the wages that go with it, because transfer fees are capitalisable. They go back around in a circle. You sell a player, you buy a player, the market moves around, money moves around between football clubs, it stays in the industry. The only a horrible, unappetising thing is it goes in the pocket of grasping little flea bag agents. And that's the part of the industry that needs to regulate itself better, because that's money going out of the industry. But money going around in a circle between football clubs, who cares about the quantum of it? It's entertainment. Go look at the American sports. Go look at what they pay their stars over here. You start looking at the NFL teams, you start looking at the NBA teams, their wage rolls are $300, $400, $500 million. And the scale of their industry is so significant.
But you say that wages have got out of hand. Come on.
Now, wages, because the problem with high transfer fees is wages coming in behind it. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
So for me, I now look at it, looking at from the outside in, having been in the inside, railing against the system and trying to make sense of it from a business point of view. Stop trying to make sense of it of a business. It's not a business. Football is not a business. I always say it's a business and try and run it like a business. It's not a business. It's a sport. It shouldn't be governed by business rules. There shouldn't be this PSR nonsense in place. People should be able to invest in football clubs and build them as they want, because people own football clubs now for a whole different set of reasons.
I know that, but you see it differently to the rest of us. You are somebody who made an enormous amount of money due to your own business acumen.
Sure.
For the man in the street, Simon, this is a nonsense.
But the reasons why it's a nonsense.
For the fellow who can hardly afford his season ticket.
But this is the reasons why it becomes a nonsense, because, or not so much a nonsense, but it becomes challenging for the man in the street because it has a drag and tag effect. The cost implications of effectively the PSR governance means that ticket pricing and things of that nature become so much more prevalent because people are trying to fold their business down into a mechanism that actually makes commercial sense to the governance, which makes no sense whatsoever. What is it fixing? What did it fix? What did we fix with PSR? This mythical idea that people are going to go bust. What? Because a few people, a few football clubs have had some challenges, and that is now a blueprint for an industry that's been an unprecedented success.
The German leading England. It all sounds a little bit odd, but as Thomas Tuchel tries to bring football home, here's how he ended up in one of the most scrutinised jobs in sport. Well, Tuchel started his footballing journey in the sleepy town of Krimbach. His leadership skills were obvious from an early age, with Tuchel even making subs during PE volleyball sessions. After a knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000. He led the club's under-19s to their league title 5 years later, but his perceived abrasive personality meant Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract. He went on to spend 5 years at the helm at Mainz before leaving the club for Dortmund. And there, Tuchel secured his first major trophy, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more pieces of silverware came next for Tuchel in just 5 seasons at PSG, Chelsea and Bayern Munich. And that CV impressed the top brass at the FA.
We found so many similarities and so many things that suited my approach and my hunger to achieve special things. I always wanted to come back to England.
Well, he says all the right things, but is destiny on Tuchel's side?
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
It's Saturday fight night on DAZN, and this Saturday it's an all-American matchup on Independence Day as Abdullah Mason defends his WBO lightweight title against Albert Bell. Join DAZN Ultimate and get 185 plus fight nights and access to 12 plus pay-per-view events every year, including Anthony Joshua versus Prenga on July the 25th at no extra cost. We're coming to you live from New York City on a Thursday morning, Thursday, July the 2nd. They're getting all ready for the 4th over here. And the celebrations that go with that. It's going to be hot here today, 37, 38 degrees later on this afternoon. Wonder what the temperature is like at the moment amongst Nottingham Forest fans. I wonder how they really do feel about one of their star players, if not the star man, Elliot Anderson, heading out of the club and going to Manchester City for all of £116 million plus. But it's all happening not for the first time at Nottingham Forest. As it often does with the owner Evangelos Marinakis at the top of the club. Vitor Pereira has left Forest with the club ready to appoint former Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner. Glasner will become Forest's 5th manager in less than 12 months. Pereira had a year left on his deal at Forest and recently attended a meeting in London to finalise transfer plans. So he was already looking ahead to the upcoming season. Pereira's contract contained a clause allowing either party to terminate it by the very end of June. Now bear that in mind, because it's believed Vitor Pereira received an email at 11:58 p.m. on Tuesday night sacking him. So he came close to staying, but he's gone. Pereira said, "Though this decision came as a complete surprise to me and without any warning, I fully respect the club's right to make the decisions it believes are best for its future." Simon and Brad in studio with me here in New York. Simon, we'll get to Glasner and that aspect of it in a second. But on Pereira, keeping Forest in the Premier League, did he not deserve a better reward than the sack?
Well, he knows Marinakis. He's worked for him at Olympiacos. It was a curious appointment in the first place because it came out of nowhere. And obviously everyone makes the link between the fact they worked together before, but that ended in a certain way as well. Pereira did wonderfully well in his first season at Wolves, kept them up when people felt that they were done and dusted. But started the following season very poorly for Wolves, and we know the consequences of that for Wolves in the longer game. So it doesn't... but then you've got a manager like Glasner, who, despite what I thought was an absurd outburst, which was an act of self-harm, in my view, given the fact he's done so wonderfully well for Crystal Palace, I think you've got a really good manager at Nottingham Forest in Glasner. His performances at Eintracht Frankfurt, despite the fact he came with a reputation of being slightly temperamental and then proved it to be the case at Palace, and some would say he had justification behind being disappointed and not being supported, but not in the manner in which he chose to conduct himself. And I think that was primarily about his own motivations of wondering if his stock was going down the toilet, as his team were at that time. That's why he made the big protestation about being abandoned, because he wanted to protect his own relationship with potential suitors like Manchester United or even Chelsea that might have been looking at him at one particular point. But you get Glasner focused and supported. And ironically, I think he will be by Marinakis. People will think this is a marriage made in hell, in the same way they thought myself and Neil Warnock was a marriage made in hell, and it wasn't. It was made in heaven. Yeah. Marinakis will back him. And Glasner's the real deal as a manager. So this idea that he is a difficult animal, most managers are difficult, but he will be backed by Marinakis, and I think he'll deliver for Marinakis. And also Marinakis is being scarred by the car crash he turned last season into, almost turned it into, which is getting rid of Espirito Santo because he didn't like the style of play. Bringing in Ange Postecoglou, making an absolute holics of that, you know, getting Sean Dyche in, who probably would have kept him up either which way, irrespective of the brand of football. Yeah. And all of that brings Marinakis into a different space, which is, this ain't what I wanted. So he's now got Glasner, and I think that they are fortuitous to get Glasner because I think he's one of the best managers in the Premier League.
You think Forrest and Glasner would work well together?
I do.
I'm keen to get your take on it, Brad, because interestingly, as Simon said, Glasner had an outburst, and you'll have been aware of this, keeping across it as you do, Brad. And I caught up with Oliver Glasner back in London. You might remember we played this on the show when we were back in the news building at London Bridge. And I spoke to Glasner about that outburst at that time at Crystal Palace when he said he felt abandoned with players like Gahey and others going. And no, he stuck to his guns. This was Oliver Glasner.
I don't have regrets, honestly. So I'm very honest. I never tell somebody what he wants to hear. I always tell him what is my opinion, what is my feeling. That doesn't mean that it's always right. Yeah, but I think everybody deserves to hear how I am feeling, how I see some things that happened or that's going on, and not everybody has to be delighted with my opinion. To be honest, it's not just in football; it's in our society, especially that and it's also in politics. You know that too often people who are in charge are telling what somebody wants to hear and not what's their opinion is. And I think that would be that's very important that we're telling the truth, that we're telling our opinion, and that we defend our opinion. Because that's democracy. Discussing, saying that's your opinion, that's my opinion. We're discussing at the end, but there is one main goal. We all want the best for Crystal Palace. It's the players, it's the manager, it's the staff, and it's the chairman. And then it's important that not everybody says, it's good what you're doing, it's good, because I think you need discussions that you bring the club forward. And I think when we look back at the 2 years where I am in charge, we brought the club forward.
See, I think I like his way of doing things, Brad. He says what he means and means what he says and worries about it later, because his best interest is in the club.
Well, is it?
Well, he wants. Well, and he said what he said because at the end he wants the best.
I'm just going to use one example. So, was it better for the club that Gahey stayed at the club, saw his contract, and left for nothing, or that the club got 60, 65, 7? What did they get for him?
They got 20 in the end.
20, but
they could have got 65 2 years before they did sell it.
But they got 20, or
they got
was it
something.
Was that better for Crystal Palace Football Club? Because there's only certain ways that you can earn money at a football club. You can build a new stadium or increase the stadium and increase matchday revenue, qualify for European football, or sell players and bring players in. So there's not that many other avenues once you've already gotten your television rights and you have your sponsorship agreements.
Yeah, but Brad, his point was they just won the FA Cup.
Okay.
And they're selling off some of the crown jewels.
Well, what do you expect a club like Crystal Palace to do?
Might he have had the odd assurance here and there? We'll try our level best. No, but we'll keep X and Y for you, Oliver.
When he signed the contract for Crystal Palace,
who did he think he was managing?
Yeah, and I know one of the John Textor. I know him. Yeah. I've come across Steve Pearce. Don't know him that well, but I know you.
I know both
all those guys. Yeah, very well. They would not have said something that's different. He would have known exactly what he was getting into. They wouldn't have said, "Oh, by the way, every transfer window you're going to have 150 million." That's not how they operate. So he would have known.
But he made it happen that they won the FA Cup.
Okay.
The owners might not have expected that.
Right. So
what was his crime here? Ambition?
Well, no, but he can run his contract down and then he goes.
And but the thing is that you're missing, and of course feelings will be trumped by facts. And of course he had every right to be supported in a football club. And I was advocating for him to be given more support, knew he wasn't going to be given it, and told you at the beginning of the season he was going to be leaving. And there was nothing wrong with that. And no one would ever question that integrity. But he'd made his decision in October, and he'd agreed with the chairman. And by the way, this idea that he ranked it off as we as the managers, players and chairman have the well-being of the football club, that's the wrong way round, right? The chairman has the well-being of the football club, then the manager, then the players, because the manager and players are transient and normally looking at their best opportunities.
Right.
Owners of football clubs have got to deal with the here and now and the bigger picture once you've gone.
And yet, in spite of all this, you still like him.
I think he's a brilliant manager.
Yeah, he's a great manager.
But I think he committed a grave act of self-harm. I think it's absolutely right to defend your position. If you say something, so many people in society don't have the courage to say things. Absolutely right. But be right in what you say. What the reasons why...
It's worked out for him.
But what, because of Nottingham Forest? The reasons why...
It's probably a better club, at this time.
He could have been managing a bigger club than Nottingham Forest, with respect. He could have been managing teams like Manchester United because he has the capability of doing that. The motivation and what you failed to see in this situation is that he portrayed an image of being motivated. He'd already decided he's leaving, right? So what is the purpose of having this tantrum in January about the idea of what is being supported? You're leaving. What do you expect them to go and do? Spend lots of money and back you in every respect when you've decided that you're leaving?
Maybe he wouldn't have left, Simon, had they backed him.
No, he had already decided to leave in October.
He wanted to put the record straight.
No, he wanted to protect his reputation in a team that was in decline at the time, to make sure that there was no currency being attached to him for the decline of the side, because he wanted to make sure, with respect to Oliver, who I like a lot and thinks a great manager, that his reputation was slightly being damaged by the performance of the team. And he wanted to make sure that all those potential suitors out there in the big football clubs that might be looking at him because of his achievements at Palace weren't looking at him with a cock eye. And the bottom line is ironically, they now are, because they now think you go into the media and you do that crap. What are you going to do if you're at a really big club where the noise is much bigger and you don't get something that you think you're entitled to?
But do you both accept, Brad, do you accept it? He's got more of a chance of doing something at Forest than he would have had staying at Palace with an owner like Marinakis.
Yes.
Who wants to win everything.
Well, see, I don't know if I fully agree with that, because the up times, yes, the down times are going to be a lot lower because Marinakis works a little bit more off the emotions, off the wins and losses. If he goes through a bad patch, then I think that bad patch might result in him being gone, as opposed to Palace when he went through his bad patch.
That's true too.
They would work it out.
If he wants the highs of an opportunity with Marinakis, we know that the media's narrative of Marinakis buys all the players and overloads a dressing room of players that the manager didn't even recognise and know who they were, and all that crap that we have to listen to from uninformed parts of the media. The bottom line is that he will be backed. Now, what he does with that backing, Marinakis is ambitious. He wants to sell Parish and Josh Harris and David Blitzer. And the curious ones is Blitzer and Harris, because they've got lots and lots of money. Parish hasn't. They've chosen not to bankroll Palace for whatever reason. So he has every right. He had every right to leave Glasner. He had every right to say, I've done my 2.5 years, I've shown you the light and you don't want to go any further with me. He had no right, because it was stupid, on his own behalf, and indisciplined, and a typical mindset of a manager. I'm going to tell you that I'm in the best interest of the football club whilst having a tantrum because the football club is trying to balance its books, trying to make sure that it doesn't overspend and put itself in jeopardy. But you don't care about that because you're a football manager.
Is there a football manager anywhere that doesn't have the odd tantrum?
But it's how you do it. And the irony of it is it's almost like a divine karma. You, in trying to protect your reputation, by going out and having this childish outburst, have damaged your reputation, because you could have been managing one of the big legacy clubs in English football, and they will look at you now and poke you with a stick at the end of it, with horrible stuff on the end of it, because they don't think you can manage in a big space, because you'll go off the reservation again.
You poke you with a stick with horrible stuff on at the end.
Yeah, well, I couldn't say the word, can I?
Oh, I see. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Brad Friedel. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation.
Let's start with all the positives. Right, let's talk about the negatives now.
Okay.
I think the positive was Jude Bellingham. I think without him last night, he was the only one that was giving it. Right? I thought I was going to write a list of all the players that upset me and were terrible, but then I just found myself writing out everyone that played.
So what I felt, Andy, you're spot on. Kane with his second goal, fantastic. That's what he's been doing all season at Bayern Munich.
And also stepped up, by the way.
Yes.
A lot of people have questioned whether or not he can do in a big game. Finally,
but I was saying at half-time, mate, I was saying, we've been in the Saints of Cundy and O'Hara. We've been in games like this, guys, where like you're looking at, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is tough. Who's going to step up?" Bellingham done it against Panama, and he's done it again. So has Harry Kane. Those two players, the ones we're talking about every game, that are stepping up, and we have to rely on. The rest of them, no words, mate. Marcus Rashford, I've been his biggest fan. You get to start, and you're hopeless. Wan-Bissaka, I get it. You probably didn't get past him at Man United in training, but you got to still try and take him on. Didn't take him on once. If Madueke cut in any more times, I was going to walk out. And then when he finally went down the line, he got a bit of joy. First half. Terrible, mate. Declan Rice and Anderson looked shattered. Couldn't get about the pitch. Couldn't press. First half, we were pressing as a front three. And then there was a big space. Declan Rice and Anderson marking nobody. Honestly, mate, O'Reilly not getting tight. Jed Spence not getting tight. The first goal for them. How can that happen?
Yeah, goalkeeper should never get beaten by his near post.
Don't, mate. That's a touchy subject, mate. Because we were arguing a lot last night.
Who was saying they should?
Cundy saying...
No.
Honestly,
never
mate,
get beaten in the near post.
Cundy saying, oh, I'm tired of this saying, why not? You can't get beat at your near post, mate.
It's the same for a reason.
Of course. You can't, mate.
No, you
Pickford,
can't. No excuse for that.
We're his biggest fan. Wonder how Spain, Austria will work out later on today. I'm going to get Brad's take on that. They play in LA on the other side of this country later on today. In the meantime, let's head back to the UK and find out what's going on at Wimbledon. Here's Lisa O'Sullivan. Lisa.
British wildcard Arthur Ferries into the third round of a Grand Slam for the first time in his career after a 5-7, 7-6, 6-3, 6-3 win over Otto Virtanen. He's just the fourth British wildcard to reach the men's singles third round here since the year 2000. It's not the same story for Casey Swan, though. She's been beaten in straight sets by Madison Keys. We've seen a straightforward win by Iga Swiatek. Taylor Fritz is also through, as is Alex de Minaur, and we're now keeping an eye on Jacob Fernley and Jan Choinski, the other two Brits remaining in the draw.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed. Here in New York, it's time for this.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
3 games for you live on the talkSPORT network today. Portugal, Croatia, Switzerland, Algeria. Before those 2 matches, Spain take on Austria over in LA. We're going to look at that one with Village Hotels and Brad Friedel alongside Simon here in studio in the World Trade Center. Brad, Spain thus far, do you look at Spain and think, yeah, they will be there or thereabout? Have you had any reason to doubt Spain?
Yeah, a little bit, but they're good. And they have, just like the other top sides, they have one of the world's best in Le Mans. They stuttered in 2 of their games for me, but they're still one of the better ones. I see them making it through at least to the quarterfinals, and they could go beyond, of course. I believe they would potentially play the United States at some stage. They're on that side of the bracket, which
That's your lot then?
Yeah, which would be very difficult for the US to win that.
Yeah,
half full glass. Exactly. for Spain or for US. So, but they're good. But this game's hard, by the way. Austria, they'll be physical. It'll be a difficult game. I could see this being a little bit of a stop-start moment for them.
Yeah, I mean, Brad is right, actually, Simon. When you look at Austria, the recent form, Algeria 3-3, before that, a 2-0 defeat to Argentina. Before that, they beat Jordan 3-1. They beat Tunisia 1-0. The Republic of Korea 1-0. Ghana 5-1. I mean, they know how to win games.
Yeah, I mean, it will not be a walkover. I mean, there's nothing more that I'm looking forward to than going back to Spain when we come back from here, having had the Spanish pummeled by someone and kicked out of the tournament. I'd love to see that, but I don't suspect that's going to be Austria. I mean, the Spanish, whilst not getting into the same... I mean, there was an irresistibility about the Spanish in the Euros. I mean, they were so easy on the eye, so compelling as a side. We were out of our league in that European final, despite the fact we got ourselves back into the game with Cole Palmer. They were a far better side than us, and they were a far better side than the majority of the teams in the tournament. And I suspect that will find some of its level in this one, and I don't think Austria are going to be that roadblock for them. But I'm less and less inclined to believe that the Spanish name will be on this trophy.
Less inclined?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... Lamine Yamal is a great player. He's a young player. But, you know, you look at that time, I know he went off and he was replaced by the kid that Arsenal signed, Zubamendi. But Rodri was such a colossus at that time when he was playing for Man City. He's not been the same player since that injury that ironically he got when he was talking about going on strike. And you've got this situation now where the Spanish aren't quite what they were, but they will have too much for the Austrians, irrespective of the Austrians.
Is that also because, Brad, that everybody compares the likes of Spain to France? Everyone gets compared to France, who are expected to go all the way and win it.
Well, you have to be at this stage of the tournament because we're talking about who's going to lift the World Cup. So France right now, on the eye, on the stats, on their performances, are the team to beat at this moment in time. And Spain has not performed like England hasn't performed to the level of France. So could Spain lift their performances? I think they could. Can England lift their performance? I think they can. The Argentina game in Austria, if you look at Austria, could have scored. Austria could have, they played them very well.
Yeah.
So I agree with Simon. I think Spain will make it through. But I don't think it's going to be an easy game. And if it's not an easy game, do the Spanish supporters say, oh, we can't win the World Cup and we're not good enough for that? Because that's a little bit disrespectful to the Austrians.
OK, it's live in talkSPORT. It kicks the whole thing off today over in Los Angeles. Spain against Austria. You can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel for your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/win. We're coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning here in New York. It's coming up to 3 o'clock where you are back home in the UK. But where we are, it is sweltering already.
talkSPORT's big match build-up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
It was an absolute shambles. It was so bad. You're watching going, oh, no. It's almost like they'd been out last night. That's what it felt like. Jay, was so bad, mate.
Mate,
we got out of jail
There's
tonight.
so much to talk about, and obviously we're going to take calls, but I have to talk about the fact that we don't look like we've got any players in the team, apart of, like, obviously Kane, right? He'll win your game, and Bellingham. But, like, you can't have two players win the World Cup France have got 6, 7. Where are the players who are going to make something happen? And I don't want to go there, but I'm going to. Cole Palmer, Trent. Like, you've left these players at home. The right-back position, it's almost criminal that we're having to play Spence there. Spence doesn't start at right-back for Tottenham, who finished 17th. And I'm looking at it going, what's going on? What am I watching? Maduaki doesn't get to the byline, pulls it back to Spence. Spence doesn't want to cross the ball. It's not his game. It's not his game. He's athletic. He'll defend well. It's not his game. I'm sitting here and I'm like, all of a sudden, the best part of the game where we looked all right was when Declan Rice went right back and Saka played right wing because they had a connection. And if Saka tried to get to the byline, it didn't happen. Come back to Rice and Rice puts the ball in the box. And it's like, how have we not took Trent? How? It's going to go down as one of the worst World Cup squad picks ever. Ever. That Trent hasn't gone. Cole Palmer must be sat in O Beach in Ibiza laughing that he's not involved in this squad. Laughing. Because we are terrible. We're terrible.
We are terrible. We are terrible. There's no getting away from it. One thing I will
Harry Kane gets us out of a hole.
He does. And Bellingham, the pair of them have got us through to where we are right now. And without those two, we're absolutely shot to pieces.
Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Elliot Anderson to Manchester City, all but done. They say he has completed his medical at the World Cup and the formalities will be finalised when he returns. Forest are getting £116 million, that much we do know. They say they'll pay tribute to his outstanding contribution at the appropriate time. Now, should Thomas Tuchel keep Declan Rice at right back for Mexico? He seemed to solve a problem last night, but Alan Pardew says that would create other issues.
There's a couple of positions. I think Anderson struggled a little bit in the last couple of games. I think there's a possibility to make us a little bit more kind of have a little bit more flair in the team, maybe to put Rice in the 6, bring back Bellingham 1 and play Eze, for example, or Rodgers.
Mexico-England kicks off at 1 a.m. UK time. So how do you cope as your sleep is interrupted by listening avidly to talkSPORT's commentary? Nick Littlehales is a sleep expert who's worked within the England setup. He told us you can prepare over the next few days.
Everything seems okay. There's a little bit of weight going to his left when the ball is struck at him.
Apologies, we'll try and bring you that clip shortly. A couple of other big midfield Premier League transfers have been completed today. Mateus Fernandes to Spurs, Hayden Hackney to Everton, they're both done. And Brighton have signed the Austrian defender Mikhail Svoboda from Venezia. And a British male in Wimbledon round 3, who'd have thunk it? Arthur Ferry, the British number 3, has beaten the Finn Otto Virtanen to progress further into a Grand Slam than ever before. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
2 15-year-old boys who were spared custody for the rape of 2 girls in Hampshire have been sentenced to 4 years detention, and the leader of a Rochdale grooming gang is understood to have been released from prison. Emma has more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heat wave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Dry for most, though some showers in the northwest, the west of Scotland and in Northern Ireland, staying that way into tonight.
We're live in New York, 3 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning in this part of the world, 3 minutes past 3 o'clock in the afternoon back in the UK. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Brad Friedel, and we're coming to you from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. Here's Mr. Jordan.
Do you know what I've just realised, and it evaded me? One of the callers talks about Glasner going to Forest, and of course the reasons why it's such an affront is because Forest took our position in the Europa League, isn't it? That's why it's such an affront to Palace fans that Glasner could have gone to anywhere besides Brighton. I was listening to one, I think it was on one of the other shows, going, can't go to Millwall, can't go to Brighton. He's gone for the third worst option, which is Forest.
All right.
Because, of course, Forest got him last year when Palace got booted out of the Europa League because of bad administration. He's gone to the club that...
This has just dawned on you,
it literally just dawned on me, yeah.
All right,
Did it dawn on you then, smart
Well,
ass?
yeah,
No, it didn't.
It kind of dawned on me.
No, it didn't dawn on him.
That's the kind of thing you say during a commercial break. Oh, Brad, one thing that's dawned on me, as opposed to... We're live in New York.
We're having a conversation.
Hang on a second.
They know where we are. We're on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center.
At 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Do you know
at
what
10
I was
a.m.,
just thinking?
and there's no doubt about that.
Do you remember a fortnight ago, Jim, you told me... Anyway, Simon, thank you for that. Incidentally, straight after us, and Simon's afterthoughts, 4 o'clock back home in the UK, Jason Cundy and Darren Bent bringing the World Cup Game Day Drive, and they'll be joined in studio by England legend Kyle Walker. On that, Brad, it is all too late, but we had someone sending in a message saying Walker definitely should have been there, off the back of Wayne Rooney saying last night Walker should have been with Tuchel in England.
What good does
He's 36.
What good does it do to talk about hypotheticals right now in the middle of the tournament?
Yeah.
Kyle's. I played with him at Villa. I played with him at Forest. For me, he's England's greatest ever, or he's right up there with whatever your opinion is. One of the best right backs that England's ever had.
Yeah.
But Thomas Tuchel didn't pick him, and that's where the conversation ends.
I mean, you might want to ask the Birmingham fans, the Derby fans, and the DC United fans what they think of Wayne Rooney's team selections.
OK.
And Plymouth, of course.
Should I ask you at this stage, is anything you're recalling from February or March that you want to throw in at this stage?
I just get anaesthetised by some things that you say, and I suddenly forget.
Three games across the talkSPORT network today. You won't miss a trick. Spain, Austria, Portugal, Croatia, and Switzerland against Algeria. That is here, back home, so much going on. Tottenham Hotspur right in the mix when it comes to transfers. What is going on with Tottenham now that we know they will pay an initial £92.5 million for Sandro Tonali, with an additional £7.5 million in proposed add-ons. And in the process, they will take, for that amount of money, Tonali from Newcastle United to themselves at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This comes after Spurs signed West Ham midfielder Matthias Fernandes in a deal worth £85 million. That came after we learnt that Andy Robertson, Marco Senesi joined on frees from Liverpool and Bournemouth respectively, and then they'd brought in Jan-Paul Van Hecke from Brighton for £52 million. So, Simon, it begs the question, even though, yes, the ownership is the same, they are behaving differently, are they not?
Yes, they are.
Compared to the time that Daniel Levy was there.
No doubt about it. No, I'm not disputing it. I mean, what does it tell you about the players that are joining them? Because with respect to Tonali, why would you go from Newcastle to Tottenham Hotspur? I suspect it's because of the money. And I don't know what that tells you. That tells you that you've either got a player that's playing for money or a player that's playing for ambition, because you're going to a side that's finished fourth from bottom of the league last year.
We've spoken about this. Yeah.
So you look at these but going to the central theme, wonderful. But I don't think they know what they're doing. They're paying massively over the odds for these players. But
they know.
No, I think you've gone from one extreme to the other. I think you've got football expertise that Daniel and his team exhibited at certain times, but they didn't have the balls or the financial desire to push the envelope. Now you've gone the other way. Which is you don't care about the financial concerns of what you're doing. You're just going to spend whatever you want to spend, and the fans will love it. The Spurs fans will love it.
Of course they will.
But when you're looking at what they're buying...
Are you being objective about this, Simon? Because I know you're aligned with Daniel.
I don't care about what happens to Daniel. That's not my business. Daniel's still worth £600 million.
But you can't really criticise them or accuse them of a lack of objectivity with regard to what they're now doing. I mean, here's Paul in Leighton Buzzard. Is Simon finally going to have to accept that he was wrong about this Spurs ownership? Tonali joining Spurs.
I'm wrong about that, yeah, because I said he wouldn't join.
They're spending £100 million. Is Simon now ready to jump on board and accept that Levy was holding the club back on the pitch despite all his great work in other areas at the football club? Levy has been sacked, and within 12 months, we've broken our transfer record twice and smashed our wage structure too. How can that be a coincidence? Says Paul. Are you ready, Simon, to tell us you were wrong about the Spurs ownership?
Because the majority shareholders have changed their view. I mean, I realise that in the one-dimensional, myopic world of fans that don't really understand how it works behind the scenes, that the optics of it are very clear. We now, as the majority shareholders, have changed our view. We were the same majority shareholders. We were the cash in the room. Daniel Levy didn't have the economic wherewithal. Daniel Levy doesn't have the financial might.
Daniel ran it.
No, Daniel ran it on behalf of the majority shareholders.
They gave him the budget to run it.
Correct.
It wasn't. Daniel Levy couldn't just go write checks, no matter what. He had to bring the income in to write checks. It's a same ownership group, but if they hadn't finished 17th and 17th in back-to-back seasons, would they be splashing the cash right now?
Indeed.
Could Daniel not have urged the ownership more to do the kind of thing they're now doing?
But that's an assumption that he didn't. I mean, I will agree with a lot of fans that I think Daniel is ostensibly an accountant by profession. I think he doesn't feel things viscerally, that the way certain people will do, because the emotional investment that certain football operators will feel will be aligned with the views of the fans. Predominantly the fact that the Saudis, the UAE own Man City, or Abu Dhabi own Man City, they don't feel inclined to be emotionally invested in Man City. They just want to be the best version of themselves they possibly can. Where's the heart and feel of the Saudi ownership of Newcastle? Because they damn sure ain't pushing the envelope. The way that Daniel ran the football club was to balance the books and drive the revenue. You've now got a different motivation. You've got a different attitude by the same people that were controlling the dynamics of the business.
So why do you think they've got a different motivation?
Because I think they recognise that to sell this football club, they need to start winning things. The real capital value has been proven by Man City is that you can get 4 or 5 billion quick. Because believe me, there was a £3.5 billion deal on the table, and the mechanics behind it fell down for a variety of different reasons with Tottenham. You look at this now. What I will tell you now, and people say, "Oh, it's just you covering your arse." I don't care about Spurs. Daniel's my mate, but I don't really care that much about whether Daniel's running Tottenham Hotspur or not.
Was he wrong to run it in the way he did?
He ran it the way he was able to. Now, you could have made decisions. You could have made slightly ballsier decisions where you take this risk because you're emotionally motivated a certain way. But that Daniel's not built that way. But what Daniel did do was provide a platform now. For that, what they've decided to do now is we don't care about the economic viability of this football club. We don't care about the sustainability of it. We're going to try and buy our way to success, which is the blueprint for football clubs to some extent, like Man City. The challenge is, here's my view, they don't know what they're doing. They have no football nous in that building, and I'll be interested to see how
Simon, what's that based on? They don't know what they're doing.
Because they're paying £100 million for Tonali, because they're paying £85 million for Fuentes.
But that's the market.
That's what you think the market is. What market is it? Who are they bidding against?
Nottingham Forest have just paid 116 for Anderson.
No, Manchester City Manchester City have, right?
I beg your pardon, Manchester City.
But the point is, you're comparing apples with oranges.
Do Man City not know what they're doing?
Well, they've won the league. Tottenham have won nothing. Tottenham have sat fourth from bottom in the last 2 seasons. Well, you might think it's that way, but now Tottenham have gone 2 ways. They've gone from actually having some degree of control over what they're buying. First of all, I don't think they've got any football expertise in the building in terms of the commercial side of things. I don't think Vinay has a clue about football. I think he knows how to run commercial things, but I think he has no clue about football. I think the sporting directors in there are not good enough. So they're making decisions, or we can all spend money. They've now gone from buying players at a certain budget to buying players at top money. Well done. And they're now now paying players top wages. You're not getting Tonali because he wants to come to Spurs. You're getting Tonali because you're paying Newcastle 100 million quid, and this guy's going to get 300 grand a week.
Brad, on that, Tonali from Newcastle to Tottenham as a player, is that an upgrade?
I mean, compared to who? So you could scour the globe and get someone who is potentially younger and an actual investment for far less money that's going to do the same type of output. I think a lot of the 2 recent signings are more for the fans. I think the first 3 signings are really good. Those seem to me like De Zerbi signings of who we wanted and get him through the door quickly. It's a lot of money for this player. It really is.
But they're not spending 100 million just for the fans, are they?
Of course they are.
They're making
they're trying to increase the popularity, increase the style of play so they can sell the club. The club's been for sale for a long time, although not a for sale sign on the front of it because they're financially unviable, but it has been for sale for a long time. They have had potential investors through the doors many times in discussions.
They can't do right for wrong, though, can they? Now they're showing a bit of ambition.
No, but you're asking, hang on. I'm not criticising their ambition. You're asking me to qualify my views. And I'm looking at it and saying, I have said for a long time, because somehow I've been pigeonholed into being Daniel's PR, I've turned around and said, Daniel built a spaceship. I said this a long time ago. It might need someone different to run it. So I said that a long time ago. But I don't think it's these guys, and I don't think they've got the commercial understanding of the football operation to make football decisions. Now, buying Tonali, what does it tell you about Tonali? Tonali's going to Spurs. Now, I would always make a case for a London club because I was a London club owner and I'm a Londoner. But I look at Spurs and I think they're chaotic. I think they don't have any nous in the building, and it's no surprise to me that the mess they were in last year. Now, if they want to buy their way out of it, fantastic. I hope it works for them. But my concern, insofar as I have any concern, is that the decisions that they're making are just playing to a gallery of believing that you can buy success. De Zerbi is, to me, a one-trick pony, and we'll see how he plays out, right? Because he's got this reputation. For what?
It's got to be more than that, though. It's
Well, we'll
got to be more
see.
method to the madness. Does Tonali improve Tottenham, Brad?
All the signings together improve Tottenham so far. I don't know if Tonali himself is going to be better than someone that you could buy for 20 or 30 or 40 million pounds if you did your recruitment a different way. I'm not saying that Tonali is a bad player, because he's a very good player, but I came on the show in London a long time ago and we were talking about Tottenham, and one of the issues that Tottenham has is they're competing against the top clubs, and the top clubs will offer a certain wage. And those players, so if you're looking at a Man City, for instance, they'll offer a certain wage. And for that player to go to Tottenham, they're going to have to pay even more money. So then are you getting that player for the right reason? And that's what I think Simon's pointing to.
Yes.
And so, do you not think that? Do you think Daniel? Just going back to Levy for a second. Do you think Daniel wanted to borrow money then? Do you think Daniel wanted to go to the banks and be restricted by banking covenants? Why in Christ's name would he want that? Perhaps he would have gone to the majority shareholders first and said to Joe and his gang, "Do you fancy bankrolling this football club a bit more than me having to go and do deals with banks?" And when he was told no,
just to be clear, Simon, why is all this activity happening in the light of the exit of Daniel Levy?
because there's been a change of motivation. Whether Joe Lewis has stepped back and allowed his children and grandchildren to be more involved, whether they got fed up with Daniel because people fall out in business all the time, and ultimately Daniel was the focal point of Tottenham Hotspur. It was Daniel Levy's Tottenham Hotspur. It was Daniel Levy's deals that were being done. Daniel Levy was the deal maker. Daniel Levy was front and centre, and in the background is the majority shareholders.
Were they better with him? Would he have said yes to spend 100 million on Tonali?
If he was able to, I suspect so. Where do you think this money's come from? Do you think someone just magicked it up out of the cash flow of Tottenham Hotspur? Lewis and his family have suddenly decided to rock into a room and decide now, based upon the decisions that they've made, that they're going to change the way they operate. Now, the question is, if they'd have changed the way they operate, could Daniel have made them change the way they operate? And if they had changed the way they operate, would Daniel have been the right person to manage it? And I would say, yes. But that's my view, and people say it's because you're up Levy's backside. No, I'm not. I had plenty of fights with Daniel over the years. I happen to respect the acumen he brings to bear. I happen to believe that some of the things he says are right. But also, on the flip side of it, football ain't no business. So when you're playing again in a jungle of Man City that don't care what things cost, when Man United that don't care what things cost, I suppose if you want to win something, you've got to forget your business principles and go, it ain't a business, it's a way to lose money, and let's let the fans have what they want.
I would say yes as well, but it's based off personal experience. I was there for 4 years, and I did my contracts on my own while I was there. So I saw how Daniel worked up front and center with the players. Yeah. So if he was given more money, yes, I think he would have dealt very well with it.
You ask most of the players that have played for him, and Murphy's the same. Murphy said the same thing when he dealt with Levy. Now, you can make this case and they can play this gallery and they can all go that Levy is the worst thing that God ever put breath into as Tottenham Hotspur fans. But the reality is something different. Yeah. Now, we will see. Yeah. We will see how this profligacy plays out. I'm willing to wager you it will not play out the way that Spurs now think they've got the utopia. We've got Daddy Warbucks in the building that's now going to buy his way to absolute success. I bet they bloody don't.
OK, good luck with Spurs going forward. And with all those signings they are making. We're live in New York City on this very warm Thursday morning. And we're coming to you with Tool Station.
already established you're a deluded Arsenal fan. What do you make of Morgan Rogers and £130 million?
You know what? I saw O'Hara going absolutely mad on was it? He was somewhere. He was talking. Yeah, and he was talking about the prices, etc. And I do actually think he's right, man. I think the prices have gone absolutely crazy. But it's one of those where, as crazy as it is, number one, it's not my money, and number two, football makes so much money. They're only going to spend where they think they can get the money back. So as much as it's crazy for us and we go, oh my gosh, these crazy prices, they're making money selling people's shirts on the back end anyway, and all these expensive tickets and everything that's going on. So someone can afford it.
Do you need him though, Joel? Because I agree with Bentley when I've listened to Bentley say that you've got Eze, you've got Odegaard, you've got Ranieri, Darwin coming back, but don't you need a proper left winger? I know Martinelli can do good things, Trossard, okay, but wouldn't that money be well spent elsewhere?
I think he's so good that if he's available, you take him. I really do. I think in the Premier League,
130 million.
It's not my money. If they can afford it,
but that will
why
take,
do we care?
Because I'm guessing you've only got a certain amount of money to spend in this window, and 130 million will be a huge chunk of it. Wouldn't you rather spend that chunk of it on a left-sided midfielder?
It depends on who's available, though, Andy. Like nowadays, who's available? If I was to ask you, who do we get? If it's not him, who?
Nico Williams.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Barcola.
He's signed a contract though. With,
he don't want to leave, does he? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's look, Kvaratskhelia, however you say his name. He would have been brilliant like a couple of years ago, but we missed the boat on that. I don't want Rafael Leao. The option of Rashford, I've been hearing, but.
What does it say about the Eze transfer, though, Joel? If you're going for Morgan Rogers now, after Eze signed last summer, what does it say about that transfer?
Yeah, but Eze is more central, though. Morgan Rogers, I'm not saying he doesn't play central, but I'm assuming...
Central. He plays his best stuff in the centre, mate, not on the left.
I know, but...
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Now, if you were playing tennis over this side of the pond, you'd find it pretty sticky and warm, very, very hot later on today. I wonder what the conditions are like at Wimbledon back in the UK. Lisa will tell us. Lisa O'Sullivan, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Jim. I am nicely acclimatised or acclimated, is that what they say stateside? It is toasty at Wimbledon and the temperature set to rise. We're heading into the 30s by the end of the week. Not quite there yet. We've been seeing some hot stuff on the courts as well. Taylor Fritz has gone through. He walked past me earlier. It was like I was walking past an ocean liner. He was all in white and he was so tall. Alex de Minaur also threw in straight sets. Brilliant result for Arthur Ferry as well, the British wildcard, coming through 5-7, 7-6, 6-3, 6-3 against Otto Virtanen of Finland, and the first British, it's just a really great result for him. We are keeping an eye on the other two we have remaining. So we've got Jacob Fernley just underway against Jaume Munar of Spain, 2 games all in the first set in that one. And then Jan Cherinsky, who broke into the World 100 last week. He's got a big one. He is taking on Francis Tiafoe. Casey Swan has gone out, beaten in straight sets by Madison Keys.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed. Here in this part of the world, as you might imagine, the football goes on, and we've got some great games, the three of them, live across the talkSPORT network today. Portugal-Croatia being the middle one, they go head-to-head in Toronto tonight. That's a midnight kickoff for you UK time, and it's, as I say, live on talkSPORT. I want to get Brad's take on Portugal before I go into a bit more detail. At this moment, Brad, we've spoken about France. We know about Spain. We've spoken endlessly about England. Do you expect Portugal to go deep in this?
They can do. I expect them to beat Croatia. I love Vitinha. He's one of my favorite midfielders in the game. I think they've got an outstanding goalkeeper. I think they need to accommodate Cristiano Ronaldo and what he has to offer at his age right now. But they have a lot of more match winners, I would say, than Croatia do at this moment. When they get further in the competition, will they have the legs all over the pitch to be able to compete with some of the others? We'll have to wait and see, but they'll be thereabouts for quarterfinals. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the semis, depending on how the results go. But they're a good side.
They're a good side, and they should go far. Almost incredibly, it's an anniversary tomorrow, and every Portuguese player very much remembers this. We all remember this, of course we do. The emotions will be high, the anniversary of the death of Diogo Jota. It's largely reported out here that the Portuguese players may feel somewhat galvanised. They might feel closer than ever as they recognise, if you like, this important date, the death of Diogo Jota. Now, let's look forward to Portugal taking care of this game against Croatia and moving forward. Roberto Martinez believes his side will thereafter very much handle the emotion that is involved in this. This is Roberto.
Every day is difficult. When you are training, there are always moments that Diogo Jota comes back into our memories. So I wouldn't say that the anniversary needs to be especially difficult. I would say that is a little bit of a celebration. I think we need to honor Diogo Jota. I think it's a moment to cherish that everything we started in this team started with him. We won the Nations League with him. He's probably the sign and the light of the biggest stimulation that we have. We want to win the World Cup for him. And I think the anniversary is just a moment that he makes the game to be the Diogo Jota's game. Not a difficult moment. I think the difficulty is every day when he's not there physically, but when he's with us, we are a stronger team.
I was actually choosing my words very carefully because of the nature of this, that the Jota aspect of all of this regarding Portugal, Simon, would it galvanise the players? Yes, it will galvanise the players. But Martinez goes even further, doesn't he? There would be such a feeling of strength. They'd go all the way to the final, and he hopes he would win it for Jota. Can you see that? I mean, can tragedy be channeled into motivation?
I'm always more concerned about the well-being of the people that have really lost something, which is the family, and how they feel about the memory of their lost son, lost father, lost husband, rather than the referencing of it galvanising a football team. I'm always uncomfortable with that conversation. I feel that it's a construct, and then you won't like this, it's a construct of media that make these things so prevalent. Really and truly, how you remember somebody is unique to you. Do you need to galvanise yourself on the back of something? Does it provide an extra motivation? I don't know. You have to get into the psyche of footballers. Sometimes footballers are the most selfish people, and they're only really concerned about themselves. If you've got, sorry, Brad, as you mature, as they get older, they're not always that way. And there's also a reason why that, because they're institutionalised and always told they're wonderful. As they get older and become more rounded, they have a different view. But going back to the subject matter of Diogo Jota, it's a tragedy in of itself. I feel such empathy and sympathy for the loss of this man in his family's lives, rather than the loss of this man in the confines of a football team. And so with that in mind, if they find the motivation to reflect the values of playing for their country through tragedy, then so be it. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it as something that I'm more inclined to look at the family and think how much you must be feeling.
And that's perfectly understandable. What will this squad be thinking, Brad?
It depends on how close you were with the player at this stage. I think initially everyone was shocked by it. Everyone at all of his ex-clubs at Liverpool, you saw the respect. Everyone had so much respect and admiration for him as a person, as a player, a friend, and his brother. Well. So now, as you roll on the years, time heals a lot of initial feelings and emotions when things like this happen. So now I think it'll affect his closer friends a little bit differently than, let's say, somebody who is new to the squad and maybe didn't play with him on many occasions. I don't think there will be anything negative. I think it'll only help them and the individual people play, and like Simon said, if it gives them an extra motivation, then fantastic. But I think that his closest friends and allies will be the ones affected most.
Brad, thank you for that. Portugal-Croatia, of course, this afternoon. The middle game of three, all three, live across the talkSPORT network. So are we. It's 3:30 at home. It's 10:30 in the morning here in a very, very warm New York City.
He shouldn't get beat near post, mate. He should not get beat near post. I'm not having it.
That football saying has been knocking around since I was a kid. Right? In that situation, there's no defender in front of him. He's had a touch, he's got his head up, he's got the goal to aim at. He can go that way, he can go this way. Pickford knows that. Stop saying he shouldn't get beat.
No, but, all right, okay, right.
Are you saying it's a crime?
No, he shouldn't get beat. He shouldn't get beat.
Why not? Why not?
Right, stand there. Right, we've got two posts here. Right, that's a goal. Right, please, for me.
What's the goal?
Well, there's the goal. You got a post there and you got a post there. All right, talkSPORT's the goal. All right.
So that's their post.
Yeah, you got.
That's their post.
Yeah, right. You got your Seaman shirt on. Right. Okay. Right. I'm the Congo player.
I'm set.
Well, no, you're not set because you're in the middle of the goal. You got to set. You're standing there.
Hold on. That's the post.
That's the near post.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
What's that?
What do you mean? That's the back post. Don't worry about that. You don't need the mic. All right. People can hear you.
Where are you?
I'm here. I'm the Congo player. I've got the ball.
Get back a bit.
Right. I'm here.
Yeah.
You're standing in the middle of the goal for one. You're in the wrong place.
I'm happy.
No, you're not happy.
I'm happy.
You're not happy.
I'm happy.
Okay, well, I'll score near post.
Okay, but you can score there as well.
No, but that's not where you stand. You stand there.
Okay, I stand here.
No, you don't stand outside the post, do you? You stand next to the near post.
Okay.
I shouldn't score there.
Okay.
I should not score there.
Where's he going to score?
If he scores there, in the top corner.
No, forget top corner. Where's some top corner?
If he scores there, there's more space. It's a better strike. Yeah. It goes across the keeper.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good goal.
So what's wrong with that?
But that's not where Pickford's standing.
Well, he is.
He's not.
That's exactly where he stood.
He's not stood there.
No, I'm not having it, mate.
What do you mean you're not having it?
I'm not having it.
You don't get beaten in the near post.
It's a football saying which needs to be outlawed, right? In a 1v1
situation. Near post.
Stop saying it. What a goalkeeper can get beat near post.
He can't.
He can.
He can't.
In that situation, he can.
When you think about some of the stadiums that have hosted games in the World Cup, sometimes it's hard not to be completely overawed. But what's the biggest? One thing we have to be clear about is that older stadiums will have had higher capacities when it was standing only. A good example of this is the old Wembley. For the final in '66, the capacity was 125,000. But that was later reduced to 100 when it was converted into an all-seater in 1990. Another example is this, Mexico City's Estadio Azteca. Back in '86, it's estimated around 115,000 people watched Argentina beat West Germany to win their second World Cup. Essential modernisation so it could be used in the 2026 tournament reduced it to 83,000. You can't talk about old stadiums with high capacities without mentioning Brazil's Maracanã. Some say the jewel in football's crown. In the 2014 World Cup, its capacity stood at just under 79,000. But back in 1950, well, it wasn't official, but estimates believe 210,000 people came to this place for a winner-takes-all match between Brazil and Uruguay. That's still the world record attendance for a live football match, and let's be honest, it's not likely to be beaten anytime soon.
Wow, how about that? Big day out there on the Hudson, and of course the 4th of July almost upon us. So quite a military presence here in this part of the world as the Americans get ready to celebrate that famous date. I don't know if they'll be celebrating this afternoon out in the streets because the weather is going to be very, very warm. It's going to go up to 37 degrees here in New York City as we're in the home straight today. It's been curious. It's the home straight at 10:30 in the morning. But hey, that's the way it is. 3:30 in the afternoon with you back in the UK. We've just had a very interesting conversation in the last commercial break as to which former owner is the more handsome. It was an interesting chat. Was it my very own Simon Jordan, or was it former footballer turned broadcaster, owner, soccer innovator Kyle Martino, who is joining us live on the show?
It's a draw.
So, Brad, it's a good time for us to make a decision on that one.
They're both jealous of our Barnett.
Yeah. There you go. Yes. Well said, Brad. And I would say, in this room, no one is better looking than your good self, Mr. Friedel.
Thank you. Well,
but that's just me.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Asterisk.
Hold on, Kyle is saying. Kyle, good to see you. Kyle Martino, who spent 5 years in the MLS with Columbus Crew and LA Galaxy, capped 8 times, am I right, for the US national side. You played
little
alongside Beckham.
Little less than Brad.
Well, he had, what, 82? You played alongside Beckham during that chaotic, glamorous 2007 LA Galaxy era. And David Beckham, am I right, Kyle, later endorsed your bid to run US soccer.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I didn't win.
How did that go?
I never got a call.
Yeah, I think that's the craziest thing I did. I was working at NBC at the time. We failed to qualify for the World Cup down in Trinidad. We're all throwing things at the TV.
Who did you run against? Sunil? Was
Sunil dropped out.
He dropped out. Okay.
So 8 of us ran. Some of our former teammates, Winalda and I, went head-to-head.
Oh, that was that one. Got it.
That's for another show. Yeah.
That's why I stayed out of it, because Winalda was in it.
Yeah.
Am I also right in thinking that you walked away from a massive NBC sports broadcasting career in 2018 to run for US soccer president, but then went in another direction, founder of Street FC, which recently scored a major investment on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I mean, is there nothing you have not done, Kyle? What is this all about?
I'm like the Forrest Gump of soccer. I'm just finding new careers every week. You know, what's interesting is I had a career-ending injury, so my career was done at 28. And I had a really tough time figuring out what my relationship with football would be after I was done playing. I think a lot of us just have this weird identity crisis. When you wake up every day, you've got this goal, you've got this thing you love. And I kind of fell out of love with football, if I'm being honest. And my run for U.S. soccer president was kind of the beginning of me looking at football from a fan perspective again. You know, being in love with the game and wondering, how can I help? How can I advance it? And so during the election, I information foraged, and we use this word access in our country. I'm sure you see all the stats on how much people are paying to play football. And I just thought to myself, I grew up playing street soccer. I became a sort of creative player in pickup games, and I saw this documentary, Concrete Football, about an area north of Paris that's created some of the greatest footballers we've ever seen. We're watching Mbappe, in this World Cup. He grew up playing on the concrete. And so when I ran for U.S. soccer president, when I got out of that, I thought to myself, we have 2,000 basketball courts in New York City. Forget if our best athletes, forget if LeBron James was playing center back for us. It's more if our inner city communities, if football looked a little more like basketball, I do think it will have a dramatic impact on producing players and growing a culture that's already great and a team that already has good players. But that's what I've dedicated myself to.
So is it your belief that US soccer, how do I phrase this, is too middle class?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say too middle to upper class. Yeah. We've turned it into a rich kid's game. And, Tim Way is from New York City, obviously a pretty famous last name. But the idea that we aren't producing kids right down the street that are at-risk backgrounds, low-income communities, like that to me is the one thing that I feel like we've gotten wrong. And it's a paradigm shift that's needed, which is football is not travel 2 hours as an 8-year-old and win a game 8-0 and pay $5,000 a year to do it. Football is about good enough, old enough. You should be moments away from playing a football match at any point during the day, which is either you and a buddy, you and a wall, or you and a bunch of people playing pickup. And so we have formalized, professionalized football in this country at the cost of developing great players in my
Wow, that's interesting, because it's kind of the opposite, is it not, Simon, with us? Whereas back home, football is still pretty much regarded, is it not, as the working class sport?
Not if you're paying to watch it anymore, it isn't, no. But if you're looking at the cultural adaptation, because the game is so prevalent in our society, it is the national game, it's the world's game. And these guys are coming at it from a different perspective. Now, the idea that you create these players in the same way that we've done them in the UK, in terms of, you look at all the caged kids that have come out of the cages in London in terms of playing in the concrete jungles of the London suburbs, South London being a factory of young players that have come through, and we've seen them all. I had them at Palace, a lot of young players coming through that sort of background of being a certain type of footballer. We see it around different countries in the world. But, the way that American sport is created from a business model first, and then the sport comes after it second. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are worth $13 billion. That's why most sports have a sustainability. The owners make money out of it. And that's why the outlandish salaries that can be paid at the top end of the game can be paid, because of the scale of this country. The scale is phenomenal. The opportunities, when you walk around, you see it. But I keep on going on about, because when I came over here 20 years and put Palace as a development team into the PDG to play in the second tier of professional American football, I saw the opportunities. I see the skill. But what you've currently got, we had Mark Warburton, former Brentford and Rangers manager, coming over here in London recently, talking about Charlotte and the development of academies and how kids are being opportunities, but they're having to pay a lot of money to do it. So your initiative will start, because there's no doubt, we're talking to somebody yesterday on the show who was getting quite prickly about the idea that soccer is going to take over from Major League Baseball. It's already taken over from it as a participation sport. It's whether it can translate into a commercially viable proposition for the broadcasters to monetize even better and take it to the next level. Where are you on that argument? Do you believe that football, as we call it, soccer as you want to call it, or the Americans want to call it?
You called it soccer before we did.
Yeah, well, we kind of did and we didn't, right?
Don't do that, Kyle. Come on.
Not a good.
No.
We kind of did and we didn't.
We need another.
But are you in the camp, given where your mindset is that, given the seeded sports, I don't think that football's going to eat the NFL's or NBA's lunch anytime soon. But do you believe it can be a really prevalent sport to move aside the Major League Baseballs of the world and change the cultural thing? Because that was the argument I was coming up against yesterday.
I mean, it already has. I mean, you deconstruct this and you can look at many different metrics that show you commercial viability or interest.
Or participation, yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, I think the beautiful challenge of the United States, outside of being the size of Europe, is we are always going to be a multi-sport country.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem is we grew up in an era where you didn't have to pick a sport. You played 3 or 4 sports. You know, Michael Jordan didn't start playing organized basketball until he was 14. Steve Nash, a friend of mine, didn't start playing organized basketball until he was 14. So this idea that we're making 8-year-olds pick a sport, we lose that. We lose that to other sports. We lose those lifelong fans. You know, forget developing players. Almost no one gets to the top. But everyone that plays football and continues to play for the rest of their life, they love it, they live it, they embrace it. And so I think hyper-specialization in sport is not only driving players out, it's driving potential fans, potential presidents, potential investors out of the sport.
And that hurts the media rights. So we lose millions of potential soccer supporters and viewers later on in life through that.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be a professional athlete, but we lose that, and that's why the television contracts are so low compared to the other sports, because people don't watch MLS games.
Right, and their dad or their mom didn't play soccer. So I do think we're at this inflection point where culturally, when I grew up, my dad didn't know anything about soccer. You know, my close friends made fun of me for being so in love with soccer. Now I watch my 9-year-old get on the bus, and there's 17 Messi jerseys on the bus. I mean, there is this huge change in what football means culturally.
There's a massive shift, and of course now you're hosting or co-hosting these World Cup finals. Kyle, we could have spent 3 hours with you, mate. We've got one part after this, and we'll head to it. Not but before I tell you, we're live on talkSPORT with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
So if we get knocked out by Mexico,
yes,
you still want a statue for Kane?
It won't happen.
Do you want a statue for Kane?
Yes.
We get knocked out in the last 16.
This conversation does This conversation does not need to take place. Why have you decided to phone up talkSPORT and say Kane deserves a statue? Why? What made you do that? Why did you think that? I know what I'll do. I'm going to phone the boys and say Kane deserves a statue. What made you do that?
Of course he deserves a statue.
He's not. He's still playing.
Yes, exactly. So he can get even more goals. So it can back up.
Why do you wait till he retires and see what he does? Do you give someone a statue? You don't give a statue to a player who's still playing, do you?
Of course you do. Why not?
Okay, I don't know this. But you can maybe help me. Name a player that's got a statue.
Ronaldo.
They're still playing.
Ronaldo is.
Okay. Go on. All right. Go on. Okay. Okay. Name another one. Where's the statue, by the way? In Ronaldo.
I think it's in an airport somewhere.
You can't have a statue in an airport, mate.
It's in Madeira, yeah.
You can't have that.
I think Kane has got a statue somewhere. Hasn't he?
You can't have it outside Wembley.
I think Kane has got a statue. I think I've seen it.
Mate, there's Michael Jackson had a statue outside Fulham. He didn't score one goal for them, all right? All right? But come on, let's have this right. Do you remember, you've seen that statue outside of Jacko? See it?
It's a good statue.
Mate, it's terrible. He got
No, it's a good statue.
Mate, it's not, mate.
You know, it's all right at that.
Mate, I don't know what was going on there. That was a weird one.
I ain't against Harry Kane having a statue.
No, not now.
But not now.
Let him finish his career. Let him see what he...
Yeah, Harry Kane's got a statue in Leighton. There you go. I knew you had one.
In where?
Leighton.
That don't count, mate. You can't have that. You can't claim that.
What do you mean?
What do you
mean you can't claim it? What do you mean? It's a statue.
You can't have a statue in Leighton and pretend it's...
Mate, good gaff. Leighton's all right.
Not knocking Leighton, mate. Good area.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Here in New York, another day, another hot day. We're joined by Michael Shinners back home, though, from Sky Bet to look at today's football and discuss the latest odds round and about it. Where do we start? England, Mexico, Sunday. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I guess England, I think fair to say, less than impressive against DR Congo. Certainly Mexico is going to be the toughest task so far, Jim. They're 29-20, so nearly 6-4. Mexico around about 2-1, and the draw just over 2-1. The outright betting, so England started around about 15-2, 8-1. They're still in the competition. They're in the last 16, but they're 9-1 now. They're a slightly bigger price. Yep. France are the clear favourites with ourselves at 15-8.
Okay, and what are you thinking about Portugal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously looking to beat Croatia, going to the last 16. Again, they haven't been overly convincing, but they're 4-5 to beat Portugal, 11-4 the draw, and 4-1 Croatia. We've got a boost on here. Ronaldo to get a shot on target. That's boosted to 10-11. And Modric to do one assist or more. That's 6-1. And that includes extra time should it go to that.
Okay, terrific. Thank you very much indeed, Michael. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
I'm delighted that former footballer turned broadcaster, owner, Kyle Martino is in studio, former US and LA Galaxy midfielder. You remember your time there. I'm going to get to that. I want to talk about Pochettino in part of the time we have left, Kyle, because you played a part, and a big part, in getting a hold of Poch, didn't you?
I played a seemingly big part. I was on a text chain with a few buddies of mine, Scott Goodwin, Aleko Eskandarian, Sean Feeney, some UVA boys, played soccer together. And the typical talking a little bit of trash and being upset and frustrated with how things were going with the U.S. I stayed mainly in the background watching and throwing a argument out every now and then. And Scott said, we need a world-class coach. And Aleko said, well, I'll introduce you to soccer if you're going to pay for it. And he said, well, yeah, introduce me. And I'm like, this is a joke. There's no way this is actually going to happen. Scott got a meeting with U.S. Soccer, said, if you can get one of the top handful of managers in the world, tell us how much that is. And a buddy of mine, Ken Griffin, will come in and I don't know how much, but we'll help pay for it. And I mean, this joke of a text exchange 3-4 months later was breaking news that they went and got Pochettino. I mean, so I did very little outside of just watching this whole thing play out.
We spoke about this briefly yesterday, but this fellow, Kenneth C. Griffin, nice friend to have, a philanthropist and extremely wealthy. Without him, would it not have happened?
No. Yeah. I mean, the price point of, and it's funny, everyone gets in these debates of, oh, well, we should go get this person, forgetting that there are different tiers of, A, the type of manager that would be interested in an opportunity, and B, the financial package it takes to go drag that person into.
And U.S. Soccer is a 501c3. It's a nonprofit organization, and you also have to do equal rights with the men's and women's program. So it's not like there's 20 million left for a head coach.
No, right. And Emma is probably the highest paid coach that we'd ever had until Pochettino. I mean, that's getting 2 world-class managers in.
What was in it for Mr. Griffin?
The what?
What was in it for Mr. Griffin?
Scott's answered this a few times. Honestly, just pride and competitive spirit. I mean, I wish I could cut that type of check just for competitive spirit, but it was honestly, we just want to nudge the U.S. in a direction that, Pochettino might have this dramatic, effect on the trajectory of U.S. soccer.
What do you make of that? Because purely it was a patriotic drive on this fellow Kenneth C. Griffin's part, no doubt, to lay out so much money to bring in someone of the standing of Mauricio Pochettino.
Depends on his scale of wealth. I mean, I put 200-300 grand into a motorcycle team. I had no interest in motorcycles, but my friend wanted to run a motorcycle team, and if it was successful, I'd have taken all the cash out of it. This is a growth sport. It's the World Cup, and so this man probably has significant wealth. It's a growth sport. It always fascinates me, as we said yesterday, about the overall game plan for Pochettino, because with respect to the $4 or $5 million he might be on a salary, he could get that in European football all day. There's a bigger picture, I feel, because I do feel, keep on saying it, that in this part of the world, this is going to pop. This is going to become a domestic powerhouse of football when they sort out their league and maybe amalgamate with the South American or Asian league and get the domestic broadcasting rights sorted out. So Pochettino might be like Beckham was, a sort of gatekeeper for the MLS going to another level. He might be a gatekeeper for US soccer, and this man's involvement, we're talking about him. Now, it's still money, and you still have to write checks out for it, but in the great scheme of things, if the guy's worth $500-600 million, it's a drop in the ocean.
It's working.
Well,
I mean, you win last
unfortunately,
night,
we know what the price point is now. We're gonna need rich friends from here on out. It is working, but it wasn't working. I'll say I was covering all the friendlies for TNT. There was a very dramatic thing. This is not Pochettino's words. We've spent a lot of time with him, and I'd love to hear your take on this, Brad. I saw an entitlement creep into the group where
years ago
they needed to be motivated to come play for the national team. And I only had 8 caps. I'd do anything. I still think about it every day. I'd do anything for a 9th cap. I would do anything for a 9th cap, let alone 900. So, watching it be a kind of passive participation to come into the national team and it not be just the biggest pride and the biggest joy of your life. Pochettino was incredulous. I mean, he comes from Argentina, obviously, where, I mean, you would, you would sell your firstborn to go play for Argentina. I think he didn't realize what he got himself into initially.
I know he did.
And has done a great job of trying to change that culture.
Can you imagine getting on a phone call with an agent? He calls you and says, my player would like to play this game, but not those two.
I know who you're
and
talking
not
about,
this one. And he, Mauricio Pochettino would, excuse me?
He was like, really? Yeah, I get it.
But in the past, U.S. soccer coaches and people in U.S. soccer would take the call. Yep.
So, Kyle, the nation's really in the groove of this World Cup now, it would seem. Do you beat Belgium?
It's going to be a lot easier to beat Belgium this time than last time we faced Belgium in the World Cup. And really interesting, I covered the friendly game when we played against them in lead-up. And that was a big pivotal moment where we got outplayed. Now, not our first team. But since that moment against Belgium, the momentum has turned around, the belief has turned around, the consistency has turned around. They dragged De Bruyne and Doku, around the hour mark? Yeah. I mean, this is one of the first times I feel like we're looking at a European team in a knockout round that we should be the favorites to beat.
Right. If the USA don't win it, and we don't think they will, who wins it?
The World Cup?
Yep.
I mean, France. Yeah. That one.
I was hopeful for you there.
It's not coming home. I love you guys.
He was hoping you would have said that you wish Scotland was still in.
But I'll tell you, Balogun being out is such a massive impact on our side.
Yeah.
We have no ready like-for-like person to come in.
I worry if they play Luka Bacchio and Doku at the same time. I worry about them negating our pace.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, you can talk about names after this because, Kyle, we're out of time. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Kyle Martino. Brad Friedel, where are you off to? Kansas, is it?
Kansas in a couple hours, yeah?
All righty. We're off for a burger, maybe. We'll see where that takes us. Guys, thank you very much indeed. Coming up next, as we come up to, where are we now? 4 o'clock back home, of course. 11 in the morning here in a very warm New York City. Jason Cundy and Darren Bent will be taking all of your calls on World Cup Game Day Drive, and they'll be joined by England legend. We spoke about him earlier. Why is he not here in the eyes of many? Kyle Walker from 5 o'clock as well. Don't go anywhere. Cundy and Darren Bent are next.